Welcome back to the Legacy European Tour. We are here in the Regional Championship, ready to show you the top 8, the players that made it into the top 8. We started yesterday with over 900 players here qualified to play this Regional Championship. Let's take a look here. What were the lists that made it in our top 8 brackets?
I really like the graphics. So we have a Table 1 Team Rhinos mirror. Steven Minelli playing against Marco Del Pivo. Marco continuing his hot streak. So a Team Rhinos mirror on the first table, followed by a Golgari Yavmod mirror. Etienne playing against Boria. So that's our second table. Our third table is a Mono Green Tron against, I believe, Living End.
Versus the Breach,
Oh,
right?
no, versus Breach. Yeah, you're right. Mono Green Tron against Is It Breach? I think this is the fair version of Breach, where Breach is just used like a value card rather than combo. And then our fourth match is Living End against Golgari Yavmod. So 3 Yavmod players in the top 8. I think Yavmod is the deck of the tournament. I think there were more in like the top 16. And Rhinos was the most played deck. 2 people converted into a top 8. Also good stuff.
Yeah, Yagmot there with 54% win rate on day 1 and a lot of players making it into the top tables with this deck. And we chose here Tony Martus in Mono Green Tron versus Niels in Is It Breach as our feature match. So let's take a look here while our players get ready to start. A lot in stakes. And Tony Martus also being able to pull up some good results, top 8'd the regional championship in Athens last summer.
Yeah, that's really good stuff. So that's a second top 8 for him in a very short amount of time at the European Championships. Looks like Niels is on the play. Is It Breach? So I'm going to take a look at the list real quick if Melee allows me to load the deck list. I think he's just playing basically a Merc type deck that is using Breach as a value card. So you won't find the combo pieces like Grinding Station and Thassa's Oracle in the deck. It's mostly just a blue-red aggro deck using Breach as extra value.
Exactly. So it's like the Merc type, no Merc types, the 4 Leisure Shredders and Breach to get that value going. And we already add Channeler into Bubble. Tony starting strong as well with Expedition Map. Another Chandler and Preordain, which feels like it's one of the cards of the weekend. Preordain being in a lot of the top tables and showing a lot of value this weekend.
Yeah, Nils is looking for a really fast opening hand here. You don't want to give the Tron player too much time to assemble Tron and start casting all the big cards. So Niels wants to start aggressively, and I think he found exactly that. Double Death Dragon Rage Channeler, followed by a Preordain. Multiple triggers. There's a Mishra's Bauble as well. So is there Delirium assembled already? I see a Sorcery, 2 lands, and an Artifact. So one more card missing for Niels to turn these Channelers into 3/3s, but presumably he can do something like a Lightning Bolt next turn to enable possibly a 2-turn clock. Tony, meanwhile, with sort of the perfect hand of his own, 2 different Tron lands, Expedition Map to find the third piece.
I see Buseju in end. And Tony considering here what to do in the face of these 2 Dragon Rage Channelers that soon, as you said, will become 3/3s. Niels just needs to find something like a Lightning Bolt, an instant speed to get the Delirium.
Yeah, Lightning Bolt into a counterspell is kind of what I'm looking for from Niels. What Tony was considering here was that I think he had a Relic of Progenitus in hand. So this puts him in a position where he can either try to buy himself more time by cracking the Relic first and making sure he doesn't get hit for 6 next turn with the Channelers, or he can just crack the Expedition Map and find the land and just make sure that he has 7 mana next turn and maybe play multiple spells. The reason why he's cracking the Expedition Map on his own turn is that the Shana Stidebinder has been such a powerful card this weekend, and that would possibly allow Niels to stifle the trigger Although I still haven't been able to pull up the list. I'm not actually sure if Niels is playing Tidebinders or not.
Not in the main deck, at least, and I also think no in the sideboard.
Okay, so maybe just, good habit against blue red decks these days. You just want to do it on your own turn. Since you're going to do it anyway, might as well try to play around the Tidebinder.
And consider here a lot of triggers of Surveil from the Dragon Ray channelers. Now 6 more damage, and Tony Martus down to 13 life. It's a race. Tony Martus needs to find a way to deal with these creatures, also knowing that Niels has 2 mana open and possibly counter magic.
Yeah, now Niels just wants to sit on counter spells, right? This Tron deck typically plays a lot of expensive cards. You need 7 or 8 or more mana to play cards like Oblivion Stone or Ulamog. So Niels is going to be sitting on a counter spell, hoping that Tony only has a couple of expensive cards to play in the next 2 turns, and if he finds a way to stop them, he would be able to finish the game with 2 attacks and a lightning bolt. We do know that there is that relic in Tony's hand that would slow down the clock considerably. I think I also saw an Oblivion Stone in Tony's hand, so he would be able to play multiple spells this turn, at least. Probably going to start with the relic, see what the opponent does. Then if that gets countered, I'm sure I'm going to resolve at least the Oblivion Stone.
And looks like Tony considering that.
Talisman, okay.
Let's see if that does resolve.
Yeah, this kind of smells like a bait, right? All right, I'm going to play, a card. Are you going to do anything? But if you're Niels, why would you counter a Talisman? So you're kind of waiting for a big card like Oblivion Stone. Let's see which one is Tony going to play first. I think there's also an Ancient Steering, so he can start with that. See if he finds some more gas on the top of his deck.
And it does resolve. Looking here at the top 5 cards. And thinking.
Yeah, we didn't quite get to see what he's looking at. I see 2 Tron land. I think there's the One Ring. So yeah, One Ring is another card that can buy Tony a lot of time. But remember that this ping from the Talisman did bring Tony to 12. So now he is actually looking at a 2-turn clock, possibly 1, if Niels has a Lightning Bolt, followed by another Bolt or a Breach to replay it from the graveyard. So.
And it looks like you were right. There's the One Ring there revealed, and the card chosen from Ancient Strings. And there it is, the Relic of Progenitus. And
I love playing the Relic first because now Tony has 1 mana floating, and if you're Niels, if you stop that Relic with a counter spell, that means that Tony can just tap 3 more and play the ring, which is something that Niels doesn't really want that to happen. But if the relic resolves, then sure, if you want to use it, you're gonna have to crack it for more mana. So that means that you won't be able to cast the 1 ring. So interesting choice here for Niels. If he has more cards like Consider, he would also be able to, possibly get Delirium at instant speed thanks to the Dragon Rage Channeler's triggers.
And you would think that this was going to be easy breezy for Niels, just always keeping counter magic. But Tony really making it difficult, presenting multiple threats, and really making Niels have to think what to counter there.
Yeah, looks like the relic resolved. Niels saying, sure, if you want to spend your entire turn cracking that relic and not casting the ring, that's fine with me. But we also know that there is an Oblivion Stone, so lots of choices for Tony. He does have the mana floating, but he doesn't have an option to play the ring and leave 1 mana up, thanks to the Tron lands producing more than 1. So no option for him to leave Relic up and also play the Stone, which is ideally what he would like to do. And Niels managed to escape that turn without having to use his counterspell, so he has to feel good about his chances and this turn.
Drawing the card for the turn. 3 mana available.
So land artifact, instant sorcery in the graveyard. If Neil's attack, that's another decision for Tony. Do you want to crack the relic right away, or do you want to take six? You know, maybe crack it at the end of turn. Do you want to do it when you're attacking? What if you do have to consider? Maybe you get the delirium back anyway. I think we would most likely see him crack the relic now, though, to try to slow the bleeding. You might want to sit on the relic for a little bit longer, you know, to make sure you kind of have sort of a counter against Breach. But again, Niels isn't really threatening anything too crazy out of the graveyard right now.
And Niels considering here if he should just attack first. There's Pleasure Shredder in hand, Ragavan, Counterspell, a lot of different things. And this deck does what Murktide also does really good, which is just casting a bunch of spells, a lot of 1 and 2 drops.
Yeah, it's a good tempo deck. You present some cheap threats.
Dashing Ragavan there. There's also Lightning Bolt in hand.
Yeah, backed by, you know, good removal that you can also use proactively to damage the opponent, and then you're just sitting on counter spells when these threats are attacking. So it looks like Tony is gonna crack the relic right away. So only 4 points of damage coming through thanks to the Ragavan now. Does Tony have anything like a Dismember? He does have 3 Dismembers, actually. So that could be a card that he can have to stop the Ragavan, potentially not giving Niels the treasure, which could take him off of enough mana for a counterspell. But I only see a Boseiju, I see the One Ring, the Oblivion Stone. I do think there is a Dismember, though. Tony does have 2 more mana floating. But that's quite a dangerous Dismember at 12 life. Like, maybe it just makes more sense to get hit for 2 rather than pay 4 to kill the creature at this point.
Especially when Niels runs so many lightning bolts.
Yeah, he does have the 4 copies. Wow, okay, so decides to... Oh, Oblivion Ring. Oh, okay, so Oblivion Ring is exiled off the top of the deck. Tony decides to take 4, not using the Dismember. And that gives Niels the treasure he so desperately needed to have a counterspell up, presumably for the One Ring. So now it's going to be interesting. If Tony has another land... Oh, he has the Talisman, actually. So he is both threatening an Oblivion Ring, an Oblivion Stone, plus blow it up to clear the board. But also, if that doesn't resolve, there would be the One Ring. So interesting spot here for both players. What's Tony gonna play first? Which of those cards is gonna be the bait, and which of those 2 cards is the one that he would most likely want to resolve?
And there is where it comes the skill part. Obviously, Tony Martos very experienced with this deck. I think also was the deck of choice for the Pro Tour Lord of the Rings. The deck that him and Christian Calcano played, this Tron list.
There's the Oblivion Stone. If I'm Niels, I think I might want to counter the stone and let the ring resolve if I have something like a lightning bolt, because that One Ring can start, you know, damaging Tony, and maybe the damage adds up, and the bolt would be able to finish the game anyway. But again, it depends exactly on the texture of his hand. The ring does essentially give him an extra turn, but so does Oblivion Stone.
And a map here. Again, with the bait starting to see.
Yeah, Expedition map essentially free here. Using 3 mana to find an Urza's Tower.
And access to how much more mana now?
Yeah, I think that's an Urza's Mine and Urza's Tower, so exactly enough to blow up that Oblivion Stone. So Tony just passes the turn. There's a Lightning Bolt. 2 triggers from Chandler, so Niels using the end of turn bolt to also set up a good draw on the top of his library, ideally.
And this deck does such a good job as well at getting Delirium fast with those 2 Dragon Rage Channelers there, surveilling every time. So the triggers resolve, surveilling.
Wow, puts a counter spell in the graveyard. That can feel good for Tony here.
Oh no. And no Delirium yet, but drawing a card here.
Maybe looking for another lightning bolt.
Tony down to 5 life.
Yeah, I don't think it makes any sense for Niels here to channel the Ragavan. The Oblivion Stone is most likely getting blown up anyway, so I think we're gonna see him attack with the Channelers first. Most likely prompting Tony to blow up the stone to not get killed by another lightning bolt or a post-combat breach.
So attacking here. So seeing if in response there it is, everything gets destroyed with that Oblivion Stone. But now leaving Niels once again with the field open, able to cast some spells. 1 mana Ragavan, 2 mana left, enough for counter spell, and passing without playing another land.
Yeah, he just needs to make sure that he has 2 mana up for the counter spell. He does know about the One Ring, and I think this is the situation where Tron has a lot of expensive cards, but you're typically restricted to just playing 1 big card a turn, which is exactly what Niels wants to see. So there is an Ulamog. All right, Ulamog, trigger with 2 exile effects. That happens regardless.
And that is when the card is so good.
So Niels has a choice of countering the Ulamog, but the trigger will happen anyway, so that deals with the Ragavan and one of Niels' lands, setting him back to just 2.
There's another Ragavan,
Wow.
so we can dash, attack, leave Tony at 3. So let's see. There's a possibility of getting a lightning bolt. There's no lightning bolt in end right now. I see Unholy Heat, I see a Ledger Shredder, but that Ragavan goes back to dash later on.
Yeah, no land again for Niels, so not even threatening a counterspell here. So Tony knows that now he can pretty much resolve anything he wants. I think he has another Ulamog.
I also think I saw another Ulamog there, and that would just blow up all the lands from Niels.
Yeah, at this point, the One Ring not looking too hot, given that Tony has 3 lives. I think we're most likely going to see him resolve the Ulamog, set Niels back to just a treasure, and saying, all right, well, you're going to have a couple turns to find a lightning bolt, and if you don't, this Ulamog is going to come for you in a very short period of time.
And if the play is Ulamog, Niels does need to get that lightning bolt off the top. So destroying the 2 lands, and Niels only with the treasure left. Another mana here.
He might even find... No, looks like he's going for Urza Saga here. Yeah, and Niels has most likely 2 turns to draw a lightning bolt.
Let's see what the top card is. It's not red.
It's not red. That looked very blue. It's not even a land, so
And I'm sure Niels really wishing that Unholy was a bolt instead right now. And now also Martos, Tony Martos with the possibility of just playing one ring to gain one more turn, gain protection. And that Ulamog.
All right, Cyclist Sphere joined to another ring. Not particularly hot at the moment, although you can use them while you're attacking with the Ulamog just as sort of a time walk. You don't really have to use the ability to draw the card. You're just using the ring to get yourself the protection. So given that Niels only has the treasure, can't counter that, and looks like that might just be it. Tony using the 2-1 rings just to sort of get through the next 2 turns. Although Niels could still squeeze a lightning bolt in there in Tony's upkeep before he plays the next one. So still not completely out of it.
And looking at how many lightning bolts went exiled, and there were 3 lightning bolts exiled
That's crazy.
there.
And one was in the graveyard, right? I think that's it then.
Let's take a look here.
1,
2, 3.
Yeah, 1 in the graveyard, 3 exiled. I think that means that Niels has 0 outs. Wow, I did not expect Tron to be able to win this game. That's crazy.
On 3 life and completely destroying all Niels' permanents with that Ulamog. That was such a crazy game. And can we take a look here at our players' deck list so we can see what they are running and what can be the plan for the sideboard. First, we have here the list from Martos. We see the 75 chosen cards. Don't forget, this is open deck list, so players know about each other's full deck lists here. And do we see something particularly good against this Breach deck?
Well, Tron is running a, typically almost a 15 silver bullet sideboard thanks to Karn, the creator. So the only card that is not a one-off is the Haywire Might. But he might still bring in something like a Walking Ballista that, it's a good early game play that can trade for Ragavan or deal with a Dragon's Rage Channeler. And leave something like the 1 ring in the sideboard if he wants to grab it with Karn later. So he might make a couple of switches here and there, but I think for the most part he's gonna stick to boarding maybe 1 or 2 cards, maybe Engineered Explosives. That's the type of card that could be fine in the deck, but you're not that likely to get it with Karn on turn 6. So yeah, we might see him bring a couple of cards in, but most likely not really changing all that much.
And let's take a look here for our Izzet Breach players deck list. As we said before, kind of looks like a Murktide list, but without Murktide and Breach instead.
Yeah, this is not a combo deck. There's no, grinding or anything. You're just using Breach as a value card. So a couple of creatures backed by efficient removal spells and counter spells. And this is a matchup where Niels is certainly looking for more counters. So he's going to add those cards like Mystical Dispute and Flusterstorm out of the sideboard. Obviously, that Blood Moon and Magus of the Moon coming in as well, because this is exactly the type of matchup where you need to play it. So that also means that Tony is definitely keeping in his Dismembers to deal with the Blood Moons, to deal with the Magus of the Moon, and his Oblivion Stone to deal with the Blood Moon potentially. And some of the cards that Niels can board out is definitely the Unholy Heat, because Tron doesn't really have any creatures. You would be able to burn with Unholy Heat in the early game. So those 4 are definitely going out. Also, Stern Scolding doesn't really have a lot of targets in this matchup. So there are at least 5 cards Niels wants to take out here.
And it looks like our players are getting ready here. They had the opportunity to look at each other's deck list here. And yeah, getting ready for this game too. With Izzet Breach now on the play, being able to deploy all those 1-drops like the Dragon Rage Channeler and also Ragavan. So a bit of an advantage here, being able to be on the play. And actually, now Will be casting this game with me because Will does love Tron so much and is very excited to be able to cover this match. He was begging to join the booth and be able to comment on after seeing that Ulamog game 1.
Why are you doing me dirty like that? No. I like my friend is playing it, but I don't agree with his life choice of playing this deck, but clearly it's playing out very well for him here.
And This game one was very intensive. Will, what do you think it changes here with now the easy bridge on the play and post sideboard?
It's down to the cat magic. Like, you have to stop Tron doing what Tron's doing. If you can't, Tron's going to do what Tron does. And I didn't have a look at the sideboards there. That would I could probably get that up in a second. If there's some sort of Blood Moon effect, 100% that's coming in. That's getting slammed in this deck. That's going to give us our best shot of getting across the line and finishing this game. But if Tron just has natural Tron on turn 3 and they start going off with Worm Coil engines and Ulamogs like we saw there, back-to-back Ulamogs, it's gonna be game pretty quickly. Oh, Big Z's in the chat.
Oh.
I don't know if he knows that I've lost my voice this weekend or not. I hope you're good, my friend. We're missing you big time.
Will drank a lot of tea all over the weekend to be able to cover now this top 8, and very excited to be here and to be able to cover his favorite deck, Mono Green Tron.
I think we're lying a little bit there, don't you? I think we're lying a little bit.
But it is exciting to see this Mono Green Tron here. I was saying that Tony Martos making good results after good results, played the Pro Tour Lord of the Rings with this deck, was able to top 8 the regional championships in Athens last summer, so definitely a player to watch. And Gutierrez the same. We have seen Gutierrez over again. I think he also top 8 one of our other events, not sure if a regional or if a Grand Open, but definitely both players putting consistent good results.
Yeah, that's what I like seeing about these tournaments, right? Not only do we get to showcase the best players, but continuously back to back. They're not just spiking one event. We're seeing the best players in Europe rise to the top time after again. And Tony, not only is he a great player, but an amazing bloke as well. Really cool to hang out with. Love catching up with him every single time. He came up and tapped me on the shoulder earlier on and was like, I done it. I was like, top 8. He's like, top 8. And we're just over there bouncing up and down. I'm not meant to be talking in between rounds. I had to give him a well done. You know what I mean? Tony is awesome. But I still don't agree with his choice of deck here. So I'm just going to say he's a very nice guy. His deck choice is not very nice.
Clearly, it is a good deck choice because it did lead him to the top 8, able to already qualify for the Pro Tour. But I know that both these players really wanted to finish first or second to get that World Championship invite. I mean, they already made it so far, so they really, really want to lock that World Championship.
Yeah, so I briefed all the top 8 up on like what's going to happen, how it's going, and getting them all hyped for it, saying you're literally 2 games away from going to the World Championships in Las Vegas at the end of the year. You're 2 games away from doing what everybody in this room wants to achieve. How does it feel? And they're all like getting hyped and smiling about it and having all their photos taken. But only one of them can walk away with these trophies here in front of us. We're going to be finding that out, who that's going to be over the next, hopefully, couple of hours, not multiple hours, because you've been doing 3 days back to back. Can we get some hats off or some emotes in chat for Philippa? This is her 3rd day of streaming. She doesn't stop. She's an absolute machine this weekend. She's carrying me because I've got half a voice. And I've drank a whole bottle of lemon, a whole bottle of honey. And I'm still trying to get here.
It's okay, Will. You have half the voice. I have half your height. But in the end, we are all
the
here.
Thing. What chat might not know is that they don't pair me and you together. And they don't pair me and Skira together or mine and you, because the height difference on camera, we all look the same when we're next to each other. When we're next partnering with you, when we go back to the camera later on, they're going to see how tiny you really are.
Yep. I will be a one-mana delighted halfling here, not even playing Yagmoth, but representing the deck. And our players are getting ready, taking a look here at the opening end and deciding if it is a keep or a mole.
Well, over on the Tron side, it's kind of easy, right? Does this hand achieve turn 3 Tron? That is the game plan. Can I have either naturally or have maybe an enabler with something like a map to get turn 3 Tron? If I can, it's a keep. If not, there's a good chance I throw it back, unless there's a really key card in this matchup, like Graveyard Hate or something along those lines. We know this isn't combo breach, it's more of a value breach. Like, is it type build? So it's not the end of the world if they do use breach to get a value, but if we can stop that with our main deck relics, it's going to be go a lot better for them.
Mulligan here from Niels. Let's see if the 6 will be better than the 7 and if he will be able to keep or no. And we were talking earlier. Oh, looks like both players mole.
Yeah, the Mulligan rule is actually really weird. If you read it how it's wrote, it's like, I will put my cards back. I'll draw a fresh 7. I'll wait for you to draw a fresh 7. I'll then say, am I going to keep or molt? And Martin did a big spread on it on Twitter once. He even maybe did a an article on it because it's really weirdly how it's wrote, but not a lot of people know it. Everyone just goes, oh yeah, I just bet 1 to the bottom, 2 to the bottom, 3 to the bottom, whatever it is going to be.
So let's see here, both players in a mulligan to 6, if it's possible or not. I was saying earlier on this weekend, I think it was with Skura or Martin, I was commenting on how different the mulligan rules changed throughout the years. And Frank Carsten also walked me that, because I thought the first mulligan rule was the one previous to the London mulligan rule, but apparently there's been a bunch of them. And I think when the game was starting in '93, there was not even a mulligan.
It's that's before my time, but yeah, this is it has changed multiple times throughout the years, and I imagine it might change a bit more in the future. But currently, the one we have favors Tron. This mulligan is designed for Tron decks. It made them so much more powerful. You're telling me I don't need to go down to 2 cards. I can select which 2 cards are in my hand. It absolutely works out perfectly for them. And we're going to see now if we've got a couple of keeps going on. I do see multiple Tron lands in hand for Tony, so it might be a keep on that side. I think every mulligan does, I would say, advantage him here moving forward, because his deck can function with literally 3 lands in the top deck.
We saw Niels putting a Leisure Shredder in the bottom of the deck, now playing a turn 1 Ragavan.
And that's key. Like, against Tron, it's really good to have Tony Ragavan because they don't have many answers. Of course, as soon as I say that, Tony does have the answer for it, and this is why these decks play Dismember. It's a bit of a, losing 4 life is a bit of a cost, but being able to get Ragavan off the other side, stop them advancing their game plan of getting treasures every turn. It's like a necessity, and no follow-up play that's huge.
And preordained there, another card of the weekend.
Just come off an unban as well. Only got unbanned recently.
That is true, and making a lot of work for these Izzet decks.
Ooh, Chalice on 1. It's going to eat that Spell Pierce.
That is Spell Pierced very fast, and Tony jokes like...
I'll counter it with my Chalice.
And a very good fair player from the players. Expressive Iteration, another of the cards for Izzet that are really, really good. Looking at the 3 top here and making a decision that Chandler is going to get played this turn.
Yeah, we need to make a land drop to do that. And we know it's in hand, and we don't really worry about our life total too much in the early stages against the Tron decks. They need time to set up, but Tony is 1 Urza's Tower away from establishing a powerful free land, and it looks like he's got it, I think. This is just natural Tron. It hurts me to commentate on this, but this is exactly what Tony wants to see. Doesn't even need ways to go find it, just naturally has it in hand. 1, 2, 7, let's go. But does he have a follow-up? Now can he start deploying some of the big threats in the deck? Does he have a Khan? Does he have a Worm Coil? Maybe even just a Walking Ballista would be good enough currently. Ooh, also, looking at his build, he's got 4 copies of the One Ring in the main, none in the sideboard. Sometimes you see a 3-1 split, so Khan's can kind of act as the extra One Ring if you need to go and find it, but Tony decided to go with 4 in the main here.
Natural Tron is the dream here for Tony Martos.
Yeah, if you're going to get Natural Tron, you want it when you're in the quarterfinals, in game number 2 with a game up. This is exactly how he would envision this. He's having a little look at his sideboard here. That's going to show him.
And I'm sure Tony is living a deja vu, because in Athens, in the regional championship last year, he did make it into the semifinals and then lost, didn't get that world invitation. So I know that's the goal here for Tony. Really, really wanting to win this game here. It's the first step, winning this quarterfinals, and it feels so close yet so far.
Yeah, well, if he manages to take this one down, because Magic is a great game. This could obviously turn around really quickly. Something like a Blood Moon comes down, it could really change the dynamic of this game. But currently in a really good position to be able to take this game down, get the W, as you said, and put himself 1 game away from going to the World Championships. I'm having a little look at the deck list here, and yeah, we have 1 Magus of the Moon and 1 Blood Moon, which I imagine came in out of the sideboard. That's probably the card we'd need to kind of change the game.
And Niels doesn't quite have Delirium yet. One off, it does have Creature, Sorcery, and Instant.
Ironically, land's probably one of the easiest ones to pit in the graveyard with fetch lands.
Let's draw a card here, and I see a card in end.
Well, normally when your opponent picks up their sideboard, it's kind of a given, like, oh, okay, you've got a Khan Great Creator in hand. But what damage can we do with this? We've got going to have a few targets here if he does deploy the battlefield. I will talk you through, chat, what I feel like I would be getting in X situation, and here it is. We're going to leave it on 5 at the minute, have a little look. So we've got options. We've got another Chalice. We've got Seascape Leveler, Engineered Explosives, Chalice of the Void, Liquid Coating, Walking Ballista, Torment's Crypt, the Stone Brain. I don't think we want Thunder and Titan here. Worm Coil Engine, maybe even just our Haywire Might to kind of secure ourselves in case the Blood Moon comes down next turn.
And looks like
Looks like it's going to be Walking Ballista.
Ballista is, yep. So we see Ballista there just to get rid of that Dragon Ray Channeler before it gets the Delirium.
Tony knows if this king goes long, it is in his favor. If he can get multiple Tron pieces on the battlefield, start casting his Ulamogs, he will win this game. But over on the other side, we could end up getting some sort of breach bolt effect going, and Tony's lifestyle will reduce down to 0 before that happens. So, you know, a nice follow-up play now would be a Blood Moon or a Magus of the Moon on the battlefield, reducing Tony back down to 3 land and not 7 mana.
And just here as a side note, I did read here in chat that Niels was in the exact same spot in Tony. So they both in Athens lost in the semifinals. So both did unlock the World Invite in the same day in different semifinals. So this is history here. Who advances here to the semi?
That's really cool to know, to be fair. So, yeah, one of them is going to get another shot at going to World Championships. Guaranteed, Hick. Consider end of turn.
Shredder goes to the bin.
Really looking for threats here. That's what we need. Ledger Shredder hasn't really performed this weekend. Every single time I've seen it, not been great. But here's another Ledger Shredder, which makes sense why we put the other one in the graveyard. Now we're going to do the see if we can grow it. We need to get this as large as we possibly can to close this game down.
And we saw there the Lightning Bolt as well, finishing off that Karn. Land here.
Oh, Stone. Very rough.
And we saw that card game 1 as well.
Yeah, it gives them the ability to tap 5 mana and just basically raft the board, which means that Niels has got to add stuff to the board to win the game, but at any moment, Tony can just go 5 mana, destroy it, untap, stop playing my threats. Or if we don't deploy too much on the battlefield and we just do this little chip damage 1 point at a time, Tony's going to start deploying his real threats and just putting counters on them so they don't get destroyed when the stone gets popped.
And that is exactly what is happening. We saw there 1 damage, and looks like just putting a fate counter that there
On itself, why not?
on itself.
He might have multiple O-stones in hand or draw them later on, so, you know, smart. Showing his skill here and how much he's been playing this deck.
Optimizing the mana.
He's looking for a threat of his own, though, here. I feel like he's got the board under control. He just needs to find a way to win now.
Definitely looking for that Ulamog once again. And
Amazing.
here, Niels reading the Oblivion Stone.
Having a look at the tech list here. We've got 3 Worm Coils in the main and 2 Ulamogs, plus a Walking Ballista. That's our main ways of trying to close down this game. You see 2 Urza Sagas. This looks a lot like the Team Handshake build from the Pro Tour.
Yep. And that does make sense. I think Tony was also playing this deck in the Pro Tour. I'm not sure. But he's definitely friends with Christian Calcano that was running that deck, and that led it to the top 8. Losing with a natural Tron funneling enough. I don't know if you remember.
I remember that. I remember everything about that Pro Tour.
Taking 1 damage here, and once again, exactly what you said. Niels making small pressure.
The thing is, Niels has got a Blood Moon. He drew his 1 copy of Blood Moon, but it's no good in the face of an Oasted on the other side. We really want to cast that turn 2, turn 3, and not going to be able to do it here. So now he's got to try and get the O-Stone to be blown up, and then on top of it, follow up with an O-Stone
And
with a Blood Moon.
we see here Relic of Progenitus. And exiling Neil's graveyard here.
Yep, this is going to give us reassurance in case a Underworld Breach comes down. We're able to exile the graveyard at instant speed.
Exiling that Spell Pierce first. So let's draw here.
Ooh,
I see
Ragavan.
Ragavan.
That might be enough to get him to blow this Oblivion Stone. Oh, one other thing I think I see in hand is, I can never remember the name of it.
Subtlety?
Nope. Try again. The red one that exiles a artifact. Cast into the fire. I should know that. It's the Lord of the Rings card. Cast into the fire. So that could be cast to deal with the O-Stone. But decides to go with a Blood Moon.
Every land is a mountain now, except for that island on Neil's side. And that blows up with the Urza Saga.
Yep. There's no need to float mana in response, really.
There's also a forest on Tony's side.
He's just going to end the turn, pay a counter on the Relic. So patient, so disciplined. Knows his role in this matchup. I feel like a lot of players there would kind of get a bit spooked and blow the O-Stone in response just to get that little bit of value. Get the, when you're on the Tron side, you're like, oh no, Blood Moon, it's the worst card against me. I need to get it off the battlefield ASAP. Tony's seasoned vet with this deck, knows exactly what he's doing and decides against it.
And that is why Tony Martos is the only player in our top 8 playing Mono Green Tron. Obviously very experienced with the deck, choosing it here when not a lot of people made this decision for this meta.
Actually, have a little look. See, what number do I have to go down so I find the next Tron list in our Swiss over 2 days? 15 rounds of Magic. Looks like... well, it's not on page 1. Not on page 2.
And Will keeps trying to find another Tron player, but it's not easy. Not a lot of them here on day 2.
92nd was the next Tron list this weekend after our Swiss of 15 rounds. So Tony miles ahead of the competition. And just passing the turn back. If you want to see deck list, exclamation mark, deck list in the chat, and it should bring a link up. Or standings, that also works.
Using the Oblivion Stone there.
Chat's trolling me, saying I'm going to be really happy that that there's Tron in the top 8.
You were so excited that you have to jump into cast these round. You could not wait.
I'm not biased at all, chat. I'm not biased at all.
Even with damaged voice, you made it. And you really wanted to be here casting this.
I'm not saying that that's the best emote in the world, but it's a pretty good emote. All right, talk us through what's happening.
So we see another Oblivion Stone here again. And you did say that there might be another one, and there was indeed. Now, what other cards does Tony Martos as in end? I am not sure as he passes the turn back to Niels. Niels does have some cards in end.
He's got the Magus to the Moon. He's got both his Blood Moon effects. But again, another Oblivion Stone on the other side. This is... Now we're casting to fire. That's going to exile it. Nothing, no, not worth popping off here, but this means that as Magus comes down, it could stick around unless Tony does have a Dismember in hand.
That cast into the fire really being a good sideboard card here against Tony.
Normally, we have him for the One Ring. That's normally also, by the way, this play is beautiful. Ragavan Dash. This is basically telling me, do you have Dismember in hand? If it connects, okay, great. That means there's a good shot that my Magus the Moon is going to live once I cast it.
And
Tony in the tank.
Tony Martos here making a decision. Looking at Neil's graveyard.
I think, oh, he does have a dismember. He's got a dismember in hand plus a Khan, I believe.
But and decided to go there for the dismember.
Which one?
No, that does not work on me, Will.
I got mine with it earlier.
Will may have lost his voice, but he did not lost his bad jokes.
No. So here, I turned 38. I've got the dad jokes now.
Looking through the deck here, getting an island, which does play around that Magus of the Moon.
Yep, makes sense. If you're gonna, play Magus, you need to go get yourself some islands so you can catch your blue spells.
Some players prefer Magus over Blood Moon. Some players prefer Blood of the Moon over Magus of the Moon. In this case, Neil's bringing both. And it's Tony Marto's turn here. 3 cards in hand. One of them is a Karn. One of them I can also see and is none other than a sideboard card.
Hey, where am I?
The Awar Mine.
Himaya works out really good against Blood Moon, not so good against a Magus of the Moon, being a creature. And this is why you see players kind of mixing up, having 1 or 2 of each to play around different hate cards, because this is an open deckless tournament at the end of the day, so you know exactly what your opponent will have for it. And Niels has already seen 2 dismembers here from Tony. That means there's only 1 left. There is still a walking blister left in the main, but we have taken the one out the sideboard, so 2 more options. Well, I suppose you could also hardcast Ulamog, but that's not happening for a while.
And
2 options of getting it back off the battlefield.
And we see a Tron player's worst nightmare, having to pay 4 mana to cast Karn.
Playing fair magic is the words you were looking for there. Besides them seeing turn 1 forest to a Glistener Elf, they don't enjoy that too much either.
And what is the choice here? No cards that really deal with that Magus of the Moon. Tony does need another dismember.
Which one? I'm going to keep trying it. I'm going to keep trying it. I hope Tony makes it all the way to the final so I can keep throwing that joke around.
And 2 cards left in end for Tony Martos.
So we're going to get escape. Okay, we're going to go for the Worm Coil, because normally Blood Moon is very good against these Tron decks, right? You stop Tony from having like 10 mana this turn. But eventually they're just going to draw enough lands to hard cast these big spells the later the game goes if you don't apply enough pressure to it. So Tony's like, well, I'm 1 land away from being able to just hard cast a Worm Coil engine. And that, as we know, is a big beat stick, a big 6/6. Lifelink, Death Touch.
And here Magus of the Moon attacking Karn, but that Awar might just blocking, just chumping it, and gaining 2 life back to Tony Martos. That Karn still on 3. And not sure if there's a 6th land in end for Tony Martos to be able to cast that World Coil engine.
But now he gets a second look, a second tick down with this Karn. 5 mana. I don't really like too many of the options. Like, they don't really do too much. Maybe Cityscape Leveler in case I get to 8 lands, but don't want Piff and Needle. There's a chance Chalice might work, but has that time gone already? That's going to be our 6th mana producer, but that means the next turn we'll be able to start casting this Worm Coil, but of course 2 blue mana up for Nils. We know what that means against these blue-red decks.
And Ballista there. 4-2. But a subtlety in response there from Niels. Just paying 4 mana for it. 2 islands, because there's Magus of the Moon.
Surely that was done on the Walking Blister, right?
Yep.
Well, it doesn't look like it because the Walking Blister's got 2 counters. Okay, it does look like it. Tony's just trying to throw a curve there for us.
Drawing card here for the turn. And things not looking too good here.
Now remember, those mulligans at the start, I said the only way we can really get back into this is with a Blood Moon effect. And Niels managed to find both of them and is getting back in this game. Able to now take out the Khan as well as connect with Ragavan, giving them another treasure token, which means a 3rd source of blue mana. So yeah, we're going to go 5 to the face, 2 to Khan.
And this is a best of 3 match.
Yeah, they're all best of 3s at the regional championships.
Karn is gone.
Walking List is the hit from Ragavan, which means that's 1 less. Oh, hold on, we just casting this Walking List for free?
Looks like that's exactly what is being done.
Needs to be a big draw here.
Tony down to 6 life.
I don't think it is, and that's the problem of dismembers, right? It does cost your life to be able to cast them in these Tron decks, and we're seeing the repercussions of it now on Tony's side, with his life total dropped so low that realistically normal damage would have done it, but this Walking List is really going to up that to basically you have this turn to do it. Even Wormcore, I'm not sure, would do it.
Both players starting this game by mulligan to 6, and Tony Martus did manage to find that natural Tron, but it looks like Niels able to get those moon effects.
So like, even if Tony plays Wormcoil here, all we have to do is dash Ragavan. We've got lethal. Because no matter what is blocked, we can shoot it, I believe. We can't block the flyer.
Ancient Strings, maybe looking for the One Ring.
At least I think that's how that works. Maybe I'm wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, up to 12, 12, 6, 1, 2, 3. Oh, or we could just attack with the flyer and then do 3 damage to face. Yeah, it doesn't have reach. So we're gonna see the subtlety come across, flying for 3 points of damage.
And
the
that's
awkward fist bump.
Then shake. Tony Martos and Niels are going for a game 3 here, and those moon effects were really damaging here.
It's the only way to get back in that game, and he was able to find it, deploy them, baited out the O-Stones really, really well, paid out, and now it's leveled it up. We're going to game number 3.
And the fact that that was a Magus of the Moon and not a Blood Moon really making difference there with the Might in end for Tony Martos.
Yeah, here my might hit the battlefield like, oh, hold on, wait, you're not an enchantment for me to be able to get rid of. This is it's kind of awkward. All we were able to do with it is use it as a chump blocker and gain 2 life.
But I always love when we get to see a game 3, because we did see Tony Martos getting that Ulamog game 1, completely obliterating every permanent on Niels' side. And now Niels getting the revenge with those Blood Moon effects, making Tony Martos have to pay 4 for his card.
Also, through Natural Tron, remember?
Through
That was
Natural
turn
Tron.
3 Tron naturally. Tony played, and yet Niels still managed to win that game. Absolute masterclass. But I wouldn't expect anything less from players at this level, at this tournament, playing to get themselves in the World Championships.
And both players very deserving of that accomplishment. Both playing really well, and both playing a deck that they master completely. It's been a showcase here all over the weekend from these both of these players. We had Gutierrez over and over here on the feature match with this different is a breach deck. Not a combo breach, but instead more like a Murktide without Murktide kind of deck.
Maybe we can get deck lists on the screen for everybody at home to have a little look at.
So let's take a look here at our deck list. We start here with Mono Green Tron by Tony Martos. Now on the play, does anything change?
Look at that side. It's all one-offs. It's all two targets. We did see a Haywire Might in the main, so I imagine that's coming maybe in place of... don't even know what I'd take out here. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what I'd be taking out here. Everything looks like it just does the game plan. You could trim on any number of these mana rocks. You could trim on an O-Stone. You could trim on a one ring. I don't hate putting a one ring in the sideboard, so I can go find it from the Khan. Having a Haywire Might in the main gives me a main deck way to get a Blood Moon off the battlefield. Plus, if I draw Khan, I've also got my second Haywire Might in the sideboard, so I can go get it that way.
And now let's take a look here at Neil's deck list, the EZ Bridge. Now on the draw, what does change here?
What would we change here? I think there isn't really anything to change. I think what's coming is coming. We've got subtleties to try and stop things like Worm Coils and Ulamog's hitting the battlefield, even though Ulamog, just in general, when it's cast, is pretty problematic. We know about the Blood Moon effects. We know about the cast and fire. There's a small shot that maybe there's a mystical dispute comes in, just try and make him in the early turns, Tony pay an extra free. But on the draw, don't really like it. It's not really got any good targets. I think I'll just bring in the Blood Moon effects, the cast and fire to deal with a one ring, or as you said there, maybe a pesky O-Stone and some subtleties. Things that aren't great in this matchup. We did see Unholy Heats left in, so maybe I'll trim on a few of those. 7 Scorn, not the ideal matchup for it. Maybe even you want to consider cutting like an Underworld Breach or two here and just leaving in all our threats and counter magic and try and win the game that way.
And our players are getting ready here for what is such an important game. The player that wins this game has a chance at playing the semifinals, and the player that wins the semifinals will get an invitation for the World Championship. The player that wins here is one step away.
That's huge. The nerves, the pressure, and the reward. If you manage to come out the other side of it, you get to lock yourself to the World Championships. I believe only one player in the world can currently say that, and that is our current world champion, Manuel de Bra.
Which was here this weekend as well, right?
Yeah, he made day 2. I don't think his day 2 went as great as he wanted it to go, but he's a top guy, top player. Really enjoy watching him. Really enjoy talking to him and hanging out. Someone in the chat wants to know about the classics. Obviously, this is the main event. This is the European Championships. There's a classic running in the background, which I again believe had 222 players battling out to try and secure their slot in Naples. Will those deck lists become available? I believe they will be. They'll probably get posted out on the social medias. So if you're not following Legacy on the socials, go give them a follow. And that is probably the place where it's going to end up getting posted, so you can see all the deck lists that not only top 8, but all the way down to, I think Millie does top 64 now, maybe 32.
And players shuffling in and getting ready. And as you said, players playing the Classic Qualifier as well. On Sunday, the top 8 of the Classic Qualifier does get the invitation for the next regional championship. And you, as well at home watching this, can be in our next regional championship in Naples. All you have to do is come to one of these Grand Open events that we will have in the next months, or just go to your local game store and ask if they have any qualifier events. There's a lot of those running around, so make sure to check with your local game store or in the Legacy European Tour website, and you can see all the next events coming up.
Yeah, if your LGS doesn't have one, but wants to run one, start nagging and be like, hey, I want to qualify for this tournament. It looks pretty cool. All they need to do is contact Legacy, bit a little bit back and forth. They'll get themselves a pack. They can then run one of these events, and the winner of that gets qualification to play this weekend and give themselves an opportunity to get at the Pro Tour or the World Championships.
And I wish Twitch chat could look at us right now. We'll just with this kettle getting some tea to see if he can survive here, this top 8.
I'm battling for you, chat. You see these two players battling out. I am battling in the background to try and get my voice to give us 2 more rounds of Magic. 2 more rounds of Magic is all I ask for. Then I can lose it. I don't need it after today. It's not for a week or so, but I'm trying my best for your chat. I can't leave Philippa by herself.
Please no.
Are you down for that, chat? Just a Philippa solo commentary? I'm kind of down to hear that.
No, nobody wants that. I love doing commentary, but I need my expert next to me to help me out. So please let's switch.
You went from a Hall of Famer to me, so you know what I mean? We've all downgraded a little bit there.
Will is great, making a great effort here to give us some Magic content. So big props for Will All here.
I love how you say my last name.
The
Will
true
All.
MVP.
You like missed the H out of my name.
Yeah, you know that Portuguese people have a lot of trouble pronouncing the H? And I never noticed until some people point out, because in Portugal, words that have H, the H is just silent.
Oh, no, not where I'm from.
And we see here our players both looking at the 7 cards and see if they will keep or not. Now with Tron on the play.
100% I'm making more dismember jokes if the opportunity arises.
I think everyone just wishing that Tony Martos gets to get to the finals, so we get a lot of those jokes coming in.
Let's have a little look, see, do we have keeps? Niels, this is going to be harder. On the draw, means we can't get like a... We'd need something like a turn 1 Ragavan to survive into a turn 2 Blood Moon to really start pushing ahead. But Tony starting off with probably is the best thing he can do, an Expedition map.
And we have the Dragon Raid Channeler there, turn 1 for Niels. So strong starts from both players.
Ooh, I think we've only got 2 of the same Tron piece in hand.
No natural Tron.
No Natty Tron, no turn 3 Tron, unless we can do some sort of shenanigans here. Maybe crack a few mana rocks and try and go for the turn 4 Tron. He's thinking about it. Remember, these are untimed rounds.
And this is an important decision.
Well, every decision at the minute is going to be important, right? We've told you what is on the line. Told you how important this is. Both players are fully aware of this, and they've been battling all day to do that and got themselves here, 1 match away.
Let's draw a card here. The 1 ring was the card drawn, I think, and we see Relic.
Well, that's going to keep the Dragon's Chandler in check at just a 1-1, which is going to keep Alive Toll relatively healthy for a little while.
Gaining some time, and as you said before, Mono Green Tron does want to gain that time until he's able to cast those Ulamogs or Karns. The issue being that Tony Martos might face what happened the previous game, those Blood Moon effects. Land here. I see Breach in Niels' end, not doing anything in the moment, but later on might be a key piece of the deck.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to do much for a while. Not while there's a Relic on the other side of the battlefield. Tony's going to try and keep that graveyard pretty tamed, purely because he doesn't want Dragon Range Channel to become a free.
Yeah, and Ragavan here as well being played. We saw how good this card was last game. Tony Martos not running any Orcish Bowmasters, which is the nightmare of these 1 toughness creatures. I see Karnin and
Yeah, we got Karn, Star, Forest.
Chromatic Star being the play here.
We're looking for mine in towers. That's Tony's game plan at the minute. So I need to survive long enough so I can get my Natron. There's another power plant off the top. He's going to play it for turn. Crack the map. Which one are we going to find? There's 4 of each left in the deck. Going to go for the power plant. Oh, the mines in place, sorry.
So 1 Tron piece left to find. 3 of the same is not what you want to see. Does not give you extra mana.
It will if we get Tron. Just not now. Another land off the top.
Land here for Niels. That can start attacking and dealing some pressure. This is 3 damage on getting a card there.
Ooh.
Off the top. I
Ooh.
mean, Niels able to cast that with a treasure.
I'm slamming it. I'm able to turn off all the mana rocks on the other side. I'm able to stop that Relic. Like, I've seen some crazy things happen with sideboards. Like, he could go and get the engineered explosives or a Hearst from his own sideboard if he wanted to. But more importantly, it being on the battlefield is huge. This is going to turn off all the stars. It's going to turn off Walking Ballista's ability, the Relic's ability, Chromatic Stars, O-Stones, Expedition maps, the 1 ring even tapping. This is a huge hit off this Ragavan.
Yep, and
that pesky monkey.
that is why it's one of the best cards in Modern right now, and one of the most played cards. Not quite making it in the top 2, but I think in the top 5. And that Karn goes up.
Well, there's another map off the top, which would have been pretty good, but the fact that we can't use it anymore, not so good. Tony's just looking like he's got the one ring in hand, he's got maps in hand, he's got star in hand, plus land. None of these do anything. The only way he's got to get the Karn on the other side of the battlefield, off the battlefield, is hard casting, is Wormcoil Engine and attacking, hard casting his Ulamog that ceases hunger, hard casting a walking blister and turning it sideways because he can't use the shoot ability from it. This is huge. I can't tell you how much this game just swang from one hit, one connection from Ragavan.
And Niels is the Tron player now.
I'm not saying that I'm happy seeing Tron beat Tron, or being Tron with their own cards, but the irony is there for everybody to see.
So tapping some mana here, 4 mana. And we might see Tony playing his own Karn.
Well, I feel like it'd probably be the one ring if I was going to joke, but it could be Karn.
Looks like it's Karn.
You're right. What's he going to grab out the sideboard? Let's have a little
Plus Karn.
I guess Cityscape Leveler is another way of getting off the battlefield. It could be a Wormcoil Engine here, or it could be a Walking Blister. I'm not biased either. I love both these players. I think they're both great people. Just Karn is such a one-sided beat stick here. It really shuts down everything Tony is wanting to do.
Yep, not exactly the dream for Tony here.
I'm taking up Karn there. That's an interesting play. Maybe trying to bait Niels to attack him, or to attack the Karn. So
Preordain, let's surveil.
So it would keep his life total higher. Remember, these treasure tokens now made from Ragavan won't be able to be activated for mana.
Ooh, that's true. So there's a land, and I'm not sure what the second card is, if it's a subtlety. Revealed from that preordain. So it is subtlety and land, and Niels have to make the decision there.
Niels got multiple counter spells in hand, and if I'm not mistaken, that might be engineered explosives.
There's Karn on the other side.
Yeah, that's an engineered explosives in hand.
It's a Karn mirror.
It is now. It is now. But Karn is favoring one of these players a lot more than the other.
There's also Blood Moon.
Blood Moon's not doing much at the minute. Like a tower off the top would probably be the worst thing, but then you can start casting Ulamogs. So Blood Moon now turning that sort of out off is pretty key.
So we see there the steam vents going to the graveyard, and one more counter on that Karn, now at 7. And that's it. Let's go to Tony's turn. End top draw. Let's see what is possible to do in this situation. There's the one ring.
I wonder why we didn't attack.
Maybe from that relic there. That was plussed with Karn.
Oh, was the relic plussed into a 1/1?
Yes.
I missed that. Yeah, that makes sense why there's no attacks. It's crazy, just a little 1/1 completely brick walls the other side. But on the other side, a Karn is completely brick walling Tony.
Yeah, and I think that was also one of the main reasons why the Karn also plus there. It has been a very interesting game so far.
Yeah, very swingy, very back and forth.
And I think these...
If Tony
Karn
gets back into this game through this Karn, it might be one of the best games ever on camera. This is I can't, like, literally his whole deck gets shut off from one card, from that monkey being able to hit the card off the other side and deploy it the same turn.
I'm also curious to see how the other matches are doing here from the quarterfinals.
I'm sure we can start getting answers for that if we want to. Does have the ability to take down Khan here, go find a Haywire Might, get rid of the Blood Moon.
Goes
So maybe
to
that's step
border.
one. Oh, it looks like a Chalice.
Chalice.
While the shields are down, we can deploy it for 1 or 2.
Expedition
Oh,
Mob.
yeah, we can't use Might. Well done, chat. Yeah, we can't even use Might because Khan on the other side. Oh, my word, it's so much. It's so hard. Okay, Chalice is coming down on 1. But can't we just take up Khan on it and then it dies?
Yep.
All right, you know, maybe Tony's hoping that Nils doesn't know that interaction because it's not his card.
And let's see here. Maybe the only option that Tony had. Maybe, as you said, hoping that Niels does not know this interaction or does not realize it.
There is a lot to think about, right? The game's not sealed, delivered yet. We're just, if we had an advantage bar, I would be pushing it to the right of our screen. But in the last matchup, we saw a great comeback from Niels. There's no reason that Tony couldn't also pull this off. Hitting multiple land drops, casting things like Worm Coil Engines, getting to, you know, I don't even know if they've got 10 castable lands in the deck. 4, 8, 12. Yeah, okay. So there is we could potentially hard cast Udamog, but things would have to go really, really well for that to happen.
And your opponent getting Karn from Ragavan is not what you want, and it might have cost the game here.
I think it's worst case. I think that's like the best hit you possibly could get.
And Niels got the exact mana as well to be able to cast it.
Yeah, that's Ragavan producing that treasure token was just key. Be able to give us the 4th mana to play it. It's pretty rough indeed. And now Nils can hold up counter magic. Only able to get that Khan down to 1 loyalty.
The ring cannot be activated, nothing can be activated while that Karn is facing on the other side. It's just not a great
Worm Coil
situation.
Engine into Salty. Nils really quick on that one.
Oh, yeah. Not surprised by that quick response there.
But if you put it on top now, I don't know which. I'm going to imagine one of these enchantments is a 1-1 currently. Wrong, artifacts is a 1-1 currently. But if Ragavan connects, we can just steal that Worm Coil off the top of the deck as well.
Bubble, and we're going to surveil.
And that can't be cracked either.
That cannot be cracked because the other Karn, but that Karn is leaving the board with that subtlety attacking it. And this Ragavan showing why so many players are running Orcish Bowmasters this weekend. It was the most played card of the weekend.
I really wanted to see this, by the way, from Nils. He's literally going to his own graveyard to find this Hearst. So the Hearst can now start turning into his own threat. We can start to exiling cards from the graveyard, make that itself a huge one. Not so many probably put in the game plan here, but it's going to work. Throws the Worm Coil on the battlefield. Throws the counter spell back at it.
Bubble. And Tony showing his dad Vusejo.
Gotta be careful what we exile here. Because remember, Khan can get things from exile.
And I have to admit, both these players have amazing fair play. We saw both of them shaking hands at the beginning of every game and in the end of every game, just showing our good sportsmanship even at the highest levels.
I'm really impressed with these Is It Breach Khan decks that we now see popping up in the meta.
And that was a land there.
Ooh, Mr. Fire Shoes is in the chat. Hello,
We
sir.
already knew about that. And it's a
There's the
shake-off,
handshake.
and both of these players, very good sportsmanship. And Niels will get another chance at trying here the semifinals. Remember, both these players got to go to semifinals on the regional championship in Athens last summer, and both lost, not getting that world championship invite. But Niels does have the option now to try again.
He gets one more shot. Do we have a backup feature match?
Let's
Ooh,
see
no, we don't.
here. Oh, okay. So looks like Marco Del Pivo won the mirror, advancing here. Remember that Marco Del Pivo already qualified for the Pro Tour, so definitely the one that is looking the most for this World Championship invite. And then we have Golgari Yagmod also beating Golgari Yagmod
Yep,
in the
winning
mirror. Border Yanis advancing here to the semifinals. We saw the Niels winning with Breach versus Mono Green Tron. And our last deck here is Golgari Yagmod by Daniel Toledo beating Living End. So we have two Yagmods and Breach Temur Rhinos.
Hey, that's my deck. I like Yagmoth. If I was playing this weekend, that's what I would have been bringing as well. I love that it's shining in the meta currently. I think it's really well positioned, especially with the ban of Fury. You're able to get your little dorks on the battlefield and you're not scared of your opponent, just hosing all your creatures. And that's why I think we're seeing it to start shine now on the decrease of the evoke decks.
And I'm really excited to see here our next rounds, but it looks like that was it for the quarterfinals. We will be back soon for the semifinals as our players are getting ready. That was such an intense and fun match to watch.
What's on the thing is the next game's what's on the line. The next game is going to be you are going to go to Worlds or you're going to be this close to going to Worlds, and that's huge. As I said, Marco was just at Worlds. He now wants to run it back. He won first tournament of the season, get it done in one. He's going to be crossing his fingers, hoping he can get there. And I'm a Yagmoth player. I don't want us to be sat across from Rhinos. It's a pretty rough game for me, especially game one. So I'm really going to have to try and battle it back game 2 and 3.
That's exactly what you said. High stakes at these rounds, but all the players are already qualified for the Pro Tour, and I am really excited who gets not only the World Championship invites, but also these two trophies here in front of
You
us.
hold that one up, I'll hold this one up. Look, we get some nice trophies going on here.
Yeah, we have here these trophies for the winners of the Legacy European Championship GHENT. Very excited about that. We will be back soon to show you the semifinals. I'm Filipa, and this is Will All. And we are back here at Legacy European Tour Regional Championships in Ghent, and we are getting closer and closer to the end. And these, the semifinals, for me, is one of the most important matches of the day.
Well, yeah.
The player that wins this qualifies for the World Championship.
It's every Magic player's dream. Everybody wants to play at the highest level. Everybody in this room, this is what they wanted to achieve, right? Not only just walking away with this trophy here in front of us, but getting an invite to World Championships at the first RC of the year. This is the start of the season. You can almost take a step back for the rest of the year and just, watch them, enjoy it, turn up to play Magic with a little bit less pressure on your shoulders because you're already going to the biggest tournament in the world in Las Vegas.
And for a lot of these players, this is the match of their lives being broadcasted here. And let's take a look here at our top 8 bracket once again. So we see the players that made it into the semifinals. We already took a look here, but look at this cool animation. Big shout out to our Fox Own team here, technical team making these cool graphics for you all. And we have the 4 players batting out. And from these 2 semifinals, which one are we watching first?
We're going to be watching Marco. You know what I mean? He just came back off Worlds. He wants to go back there again on Team of Rhinos. Got to try and overcome Grigori on the other side. Potentially, if you see here, look, there's another Grigori on the other side of this matchup. We could end up with a Yargmoth Mirror in the finals. But first, a lot of Magic's got to be played. 3 games of Magic potentially to find out who is walking away with those World invites. It doesn't get much bigger in this, especially not at the RC level.
And who do you think is favored here in this matchup? Temur Rhinos versus Golgari Yawgmoth.
I'm going to say Team of Rhinos. Like, I've been on the Yawgmoth side. It's really rough. It got a little bit better now that, as I said, Fury's gone. They don't have that access set in the sideboard anymore. I feel like game 1, if Marco can do the disruption of, fire and ice, kind of get the amount of dorks off the battlefield early. But he will be on the draw, remember. He came 8th seed, so he's going to be on the draw throughout the whole top 8. That itself could be pretty huge. But if he can do the early disruption, followed up with pressure, with more disruption, he's going to be able to take this down.
And we see our players getting ready here. And it looks like Danielle already starting with the Light and Athling. A great way to start here for the Golgari Yawgmoth player.
This is exactly what Yawgmoth does, right? With the first couple of turns, all we're going to do is put a lot of weenie creatures on the battlefield, which by themselves don't look like they do much. But later the game go, the more of them I have, it's going to really turn on Call to Callings to eventually I do get a Yawgmoth on the battlefield, and I can either try and win through lots of chip damage, Grist ultimates, or the combo itself.
And we see over and over again how powerful not only Grist, but also Agatha's Soul Cauldron works in this deck.
Love this card. This is realistically, what do I play in Modern right now? Any deck that plays this card. But I don't see it just yet. We do see a Dead Gone taking out that Delighted Halfling. So that's step 1 for Marco. Deal with the first threat, or the first thing. Young Wolf, followed by Canopy Garden. He's going to bring along a 0/1 plant token, or maybe just a sheep.
And that plant token almost looks like a rhino, which is funny enough here. I think it's a goat.
Why is the sheep bigger than the wolf?
Oh, it's the sheep. Oh, I see. Let's draw a card here.
These are the original unglued set tokens that came, the silver border ones. I think there's a Pegasus, there's a Goblin. Probably missing another one. What's the other one, chat? Chat will help us. Chat knows everything. Even when they don't know, they know everything.
Another Dead and Gone for that young wolf.
Zombie, thank you, chat. See? New chat will get me there.
Returning now with a counter on it, because it does have Undying, and it looks like... Okay, we got a plant now. Marco having Force of Negation in end, as well as Charlotte's Agent, and I think Violent Outburst. So a lot of ways to try to get into the Crashing Footfalls.
That's the game plan here. Right?
And
Marco needs to get the pressure on the battlefield before the Yawgmoth player really sets up. If we're able to do that, well, Grist is really going to help the over on the Yawgmoth side. You go on.
And this Grist shines brighter than any other Grist I've seen. And we're going to start making some insects.
I think this is a fully foiled Yawgmoth deck. I was trying to get a glimpse of it when I went out there a second ago, and it was just every card was just shining in my face. I was like, oh, cool, it's all fully foiled.
Grist now with 4 counters. The ultimate ability is -5.
Yeah, true. But really, at this point, we just want to be making insect tokens, try and generate enough creatures on the battlefield so we can use our quarter callings. Once a Yawgmoth hits, all these little insects will turn into potentially cards or ways to kill rhinos on the other side.
Oh.
But that there is huge. No third land for Marco, but does have fire and ice.
So it looks like tapping there, drawing. Let's see if it's a land. And I think it's not a land. It's a crashing footfalls. Not exactly what Marco wants to be seeing here. Missing that third land drop is huge. Both Charles Agent and Violet Outburst cost 3 mana. And this is just going to get time for Danielle to build the board. And we know that time and Golgar Yawgmoth, usually this deck is going to escalate and quickly.
Yeah, it attacks on so many different angles, this deck, and that's kind of why I really like it. And getting the reps in with it and learning it really does play to your advantage, because you can just start doing this. Little bits of chip damage here and there. And then all of a sudden a Grist Helmet wins the game, or a Blood Artist in the battlefield can just win the game. But I want to go back on Grist. Marco has a Force Negation in hand. Grist is a Planeswalker. Except in every other zone of Magic, it counts itself as an insect. So cannot have that Force Negation used on it. Really nice flavor text. I really do like that. How R&D made that. Never fire and ice off the top here for Marco, though.
Oh, no land. Okay, so let's deploy that ice there.
Marco's fighting tooth and nail for Yawgmoth not to hit the battlefield.
No land, but another fire and ice.
I think it's the Orcish Bowmaster in hand. Oh, mills the Yawgmoth. That now means that our Soul Cauldrons are going to be live draws. Even though they would be good anyway, but like even better draws now.
And the fact that Grist is not a creature when it's not on the battlefield is one of the reasons why it works so well as well with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Because you can get to exile it from the grave and give your creatures the Grist ability.
Okay, we managed to find our pseudo third land. We can go Island Cycle for that. It's going to be a basic, because our life total is dropping rapidly. How many creatures we got in the graveyard? 1, 2, 3. 3 plus an attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 8. We're only a point off.
There is the fire and ice
Oh.
in Marco's end.
Well, this Orcish Bowmaster is going to be the other point.
Ooh. And Marco going down fast.
Well, yeah, this is lethal. If Marco doesn't have anything that's lethal, I think he's going to be forced to point this fire and ice at 2 creatures. Orcish Bowmaster and one of the 1/1 insects. It's going to put another creature in the graveyard. So Grist will be able to do 4. But then there's 4 points of damage on the battlefield. This is just game.
This is game. Let's see if Danielle here is going to -5 the Grist. Attacking first with everything. And now minusing Grist. And that's game 1. And it was a very not great game for Marco. Not able to find the third land for so long.
Yeah, a little bit of a stumble there. Absolutely, Daniel capitalized on it. And there's now 1 game up. And more importantly, 1 game away from going to the World Championships. I can't emphasize how important this game is here. But you get to look at the sideboards. That's why they're getting their phones out now. It is an open deckless tournament. So we also get to have a little look at their sideboards.
Let's take a look here first at Temur Rhinos by Marco Del Pivo. And Marco needing to win the next 2 to make it into the World Championship, the games of his life. And what do we see here that might come in?
I feel like Endurances are coming in. I feel like Brotherhood's Ends are coming in. Potentially this Flame of Anor as well. Just having an extra copy of a removal spell. I'm not big on the Blood Moon effects. I know some people like bringing these in against Yawgmoth, but they've got so many mana dorks in their deck, they can normally produce the green mana they need to. But sometimes they can get caught out of it. You know, if they have the awkward draw where they don't draw any of their basics, just the dual lands, they can get caught out, especially if you can keep the mana dorks at bay. But I think that's why we bring it in. I don't want to have a sideboard too heavily here. Just 6 cards in. Maybe I'm definitely taking those force negations out. Don't like them at all. That mystical dispute that can go as well, and maybe even the gemstone cavern. Not too good when I'm on the play.
And let's take a look here at what Danielle is running in this Yagmoth list and what enters the battlefield here. What is the cards that are sided in and sided out? This being such a great game, an important game for Danielle, because as you said, if Danielle wins this, he gets a World Championship invite.
So I like the Soulless Jailer here. That's going to stop them entering the battlefield. Maelstrom Pulse is great. That can deal with a load of rhinos if they hit the battlefield. Same with Legion's End, so I like both of those. There's even a shout for, well, Chalice is definitely coming in. This is the matchup for it. Could bring in field pushers if we want to, but we don't want to really start trimming too many cards in our main deck. We still want to keep that combo element going. So I think we'll just see maybe a couple of trims on some of the mana dorks, some of the 1 toughness creatures. Not huge on the Gilded Goose. That could probably go. Haywire Might in the main. Not really the matchup for it. I think that could get moved. Walking Ballista still enables one of our combos, so I'll keep that in. Eldrick's Evolution. If you think the counter magic is going to be left in, I don't like that in a counter magic type game, because it does have the effect. You do have to sacrifice a creature with it, so you could end up getting 2 for 1s. Other than that, I think that's why I'll just trim on a couple of the 4 ofs in the deck and get rid of the Haywire Might, the Gilded Goose. Bring in a couple of the our removal specs. Try and keep the rhinos under bay, because if we can do that, we can eventually end up winning the game.
And it looks like our players are getting ready here for game 2. Danielle winning the first one, so Marco gets to go on the play now. And let's see if this time able to eat at least the 3 lands needed to get those cascade spells going. Very important match here for both these players. And Marco Del Pivo being a name that we hear over and over again, especially in the European competitive scene. Marco made it to the World Championship, to multiple Pro Tours, doing pretty well.
He top 8'd Pro Tour of the Lord of the Rings with Team of Rhinos. That's where we saw him. That's how he won his invitation to the World Championships. Really nice person. I was able to interview him multiple times at the Pro Tour. Really, really enjoyed, just hanging out, talking. He's one of the nicest and happiest people I've ever met. Not just in Magic, just in life. He's so happy, so nice. Really good to see him get to this level. But at the minute, 1 game down, has to try and turn this around.
I completely agree. Marco, always a delight to see and to play against such a positive person in the MTG community. And opponent Daniel Toledo representing Ithaca, one of the stores in Spain. I recognize this name from just the Spain overall, and then representing the store with that playmat.
He wouldn't put it down. We're taking the photos. He's like, no, I need to hold this up. Like, you rep, my friend, you rep. I've got a lot of time for that. Realistically, competitive Magic starts at the grassroots level. It starts in the LGSs. It takes a while to get to the level we're at here. But, the generations coming through, they've got to start somewhere. And that's where the LGSs come in. That's how a lot of players today manage to qualify to play in the regional championships, to make it today number 2, and now be in this situation where they're able to be 1 game away from being in. They get at least a trophy, but realistically, they want the big trophy sat here in front of us.
Yep, and taking a decision here, looking at these cards and thinking, can these win me this game, this very important game here? Land tap, and again, Danielle starting with that Delighted Affling. This card is proving to be so strong. The 2 toughness really does make a difference, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It means that like Fire and Ice can only really hit 1 target instead of 2. It means that, especially against like the Murktide type stack, this is a nightmare for them, but not too much in these Rhino lists. But if this is a turn 2 Grist, into a subtlety.
And that subtlety as to pitch Lorian's reveal. And nothing Danielle can do is thinking.
Yeah, the only thing they can do is, do I put it on top of the deck or do I put it to the bottom of the deck? That is it. That is our two options. Depending on what our hand is and how we want to advance our next turn, I imagine I want it on top. I feel like I would, but I can't see fully the hand.
And looks like it goes on top here. And counters are starting to being removed from that suspend. Ooh! Turn 3 Charlotte's Agent on the play. That's exactly what Marco wants to be doing. Let's see what the card reveal is, although we already know what it's going to be.
So now, once these rhinos resolve, it's really going to be on Daniel to see if he has a way to sweep up these rhinos in one hit. Then if he does, and Marco is able to follow up with more rhinos, we're going to be in this back and forth state until either Daniel's going to win, and then we know he can advance his board without using his turn to deal with the rhinos, or Marco's just going to be able to have more rhinos on the battlefield than not. And there we go. You see both Brotherhood's End did come in out of the sideboard. It is great for coverage when we get to Cascade and see this many cards.
And Danielle taking a look there at the cards cascaded. 2 rhinos enter the battlefield.
Do you know Marco has played at the Pro Tour, played at Worlds, played here this weekend, doesn't own any rhino tokens.
Oh, really?
He was like, can I keep these? I was like, no, we need them for coverage. He's like, but I don't own any. I was like, how do you not own rhinos tokens? It's all you register is this deck.
And what did he say to that?
He just did it, give me that beautiful smile that you see there on the screen. I just looked at him and was like, oh, okay, you little rascal.
I mean, who can deny Marco Del Pivo some Rhinos tokens? If he does win this Legacy European Championship here, we do need to give him some Rhinos tokens for the next times.
We'll sign one each and give it to him.
Yeah. Sounds like a good plan, Marco. If you are rewatching this from the future, it is promised here by me and we'll all.
We can't sign any of Daniel's cards. They're all foil and worth a fortune. You see the old bordered or the retro bordered Yawgmoths in foil that he's got. There's one of the older fetches. Obviously, they just did get reprinted, but here's a nice one.
Ooh, Shieldred.
Talking about expensive cards. How about a foil one? Is it Phyrexian language? No, it's not. Okay, loses points on that.
He does have the Phyrexian symbol, though.
Yeah, the foils do. That's why they're pretty beautiful. I have a Phyrexian tattoo on my arm. No one needed to know that. Just thought you should all know. But great answer for it.
Flamer of Anor there. One of the cards that also we've seen a lot over this weekend. And attacking here for 10 damage.
Yep, that means we got... I feel like the best reply there for Daniel was the Shield Dread. It was really good. 4-5, boxed really well against the 4-4 Rhinos. He's going to need one of his sweepers, Legion End here, or Maelstrom Pulse to deal with some Rhinos on the other side.
Takanuma there. And we see Yawgmoth there. Is it enough to deal with what Marco has?
What's Marco got in hand? It's going to be the question. I see a mountain. Tidebinder +1, I think. And yeah, we'll turn everything sideways.
And Offlane blocking that Charlotte's Agent. Yawgmoth blocking that Rhino. Ooh!
Oh, this is huge. Stopping the trigger, meaning the Rhino will be a 4-4, so it will be able to get rid of this Yawgmoth on the other side. 4 points of damage coming across. That is very likely to be game. The life totals are not correct. I believe that Daniel is at 8.
Yeah, the life tokens are definitely not correct because 10 damage were dealt last turn. So we are going to have a game number 3. And here, Marco just living the dream, getting answers, getting that... Those two subtleties made the game.
Well, being on the play really, really helps in this matchup, right? You're able to counteract what your opponent is doing while having a mana advantage. Was able to utilize that. That is normally, in my experience, how this matchup goes. And then Rhinos disrupts you enough, plays the Rhinos, and then deals with your board again. You get basically one turn to do something, and then they're just off to the races. and we've seen it there. But Daniel now back on the play. That could be huge. It means we'll be able to turn ahead. We'll be one mana dog ahead. Marco will have to make the decision of either dealing with what's on the battlefield or trying to get some rhinos on the battlefield, leaving 2 turns open to Daniel to basically have free will to see what he wants to do. It's going to be interesting. It's really going to be key in the opening hands. I don't think these cards were really mulliganing down to. Daniel's got the more big hitters, but Marco's still got a lot of answers to those big hitters. So yeah, maybe we want to get the sideboard on the.
Let's take a look here at our deck lists. And the player that wins this game will qualify for the World Championship. That is very exciting. And we have here Temor Rhinos list by Marco Del Pivo. Now, is there any card that grabs your look here with Marco being on the draw? I do see Gemstone Caverns.
Yeah, if that one got boarded out, I'll be bringing it back in because that can kind of negate that being on the draw factor. Other than that, I'm not huge on counter magic in this matchup. Don't think this is exactly where we want to be. I'll be keeping the Brotherhood Tent in, keeping the Endurances in, bringing in that extra Flame Venor. You've seen how good it was there. If he goes through the deck and doesn't like all of the 60 he's got, then potentially we could bring in some Maguses or something, but I'm not a huge fan on it. We saw the Murktide stay in. We saw the Subtleties. We saw the Tidebenders. I don't think too much has changed in the main. I think it's just going to be the Forces and the Mystical Dispute that's come out and a bit more removal in the main.
And let's take a look here at our other list by Daniel, this Golgari Yagmoth. And we take a look here at the sideboard. Anything changes on the play?
Nah, Chalices are staying in no matter what. Legion's End and Pulse, I feel like, is staying in. Jail is staying in. Now this is like, do we want to try and get Q at any point? Don't think we do. We don't need Endurances, not in this matchup. Don't want Fulminator Mages. Even though if you were going to bring him in, it would definitely be on the play, not the draw. So maybe we can try and go after Marco's land a little bit, but I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like the Force of Figures. I don't like the Terror Sunders. Fail pushes, hit or miss. Depends how many cards we want to be boarding out, but that's basically no change. No change.
And let's take a look here. Our players are getting ready. Whoever wins this game gets an invitation for the World Championship. Will it be Marco Del Pivo on Temor Rhinos or Daniel Toledo on Golgari Yagmoth?
Say that one more time. That was incredible. And I want to emphasize what is on the line. Say that one more time. The whole sentence. Go.
Now there's pressure, Will. Whoever wins this gets the invitation to the World Championship. Say it louder for the bag.
I have no idea what you said, but I'm going to just agree with you. There is a lot on the line.
Yep, there's a lot on the line.
Also, we keep on about the world championships. Obviously, the invite, that is the big one here. But also, there's a large amount of money on the line. $100,000 prize pool this weekend for the top 64. I think this is probably something like a $5,000 game of Magic on top of what they're doing. I do swear I've seen more shuffling this game than anything else. Looks like we might have a broken sleeve here. I feel like we should ask chat who they want to see win this game. I feel like 1's in chat for the Rhinos, 2 in chat for Yardmoth.
Let's see chat spam. What do you want to see here win and get that invitation for the World Championship? I see a lot of 1s.
Well, I see quite a lot of 2s.
A lot of different answers in chat. I love that.
Okay, I have a answer about one of our backup matches, which I can't seem to find quickly.
So,
It looks
did
like
he finish?
It looks like between our Is It Breach deck and our Yawgmoth deck in the backup semi-final, the winner was Golgari Yawgmoth to the finals.
So
Yazin Borog getting there. They have now secured themselves an invite to the World Championships. They are one step away from winning these trophies here in front of us and a huge payday. So guaranteed 1 Golgari Yawgmoth in the final. Will it be 2, or will Marco on Team Rhinos manage to get another Yawgmoth deck in the finals? We're only moments away from finding out.
will we have a Golgari Nero? Stakes are high here. So for sure, we'll have one Golgari Yagmor in the finals here today.
Look, I'm happy about this. This is Yagmov's time to shine. Hail Phyrexia. Let's go. Have we got I think I keep over on Marco's side, right? It's on Daniel's side that's taking the mulligan. Have you spoken about these player match yet this weekend and how cool they look?
They look really, really nice.
Do you think they're going to give us one?
Yes.
I hope so. They look really cool. And I can tell people that I'm a finalist, but I didn't really play.
Yeah, but you actually qualified.
I did actually qualify. True.
You were saying that and you literally qualified, Will, all.
I did. I chose not to play it. We were thinking maybe we do like the GP Richmond Reduke type effect where I just keep me on the backup feature match and I'll just keep playing until I die. And then I move to the commentary booth, which let's be honest will be after round 4 because I'll be 0-4. But
And we have Young Wolf here. No delighted Athling here, turn 1 for Danielle this time. Marco playing a fetch there. So that Young Wolf dealing 1 damage here. Second land for Danielle. Following up with Agatha Soul Cauldron. And we talked a lot about this card, but we actually didn't see Danielle play it yet.
yeah, but it doesn't do much right now. This isn't the 1-2 punch that Daniel would want on the play. Like, realistically, you'd love a mana dork here so you can play a Grist on turn 3 like we saw last time. Make Marco 2 for himself with a subtlety. This Soul Cauldron, not the best right now. It couldn't be later on. It could enable some sort of combo going on with Walking Blisses, etc. Or even a milled Grist, and that's going wide. But right now, this is not the scariest thing that Daniel can be doing as Marco untaps going into his second land drop, which is going to be Mutavault.
And go. And we see here the Agatha Soul Cauldron exiling that fetch land. And Danielle drawing here. Is there a Grease turn 3?
Might be the best play we could make. Other than that, we could be holding up potentially Endurances if they did come in, but I don't think this is the matchup for it. I wouldn't be bringing them in. Don't block well. Don't do much. Oh, this is not great. When you're using your Pendelhaven on turn 3 on your 1/1 Young Wolf just to get some extra damage in.
And the lighted Athling there. There's only 1 card left on Danielle's end, I think. And I think it's a removal spell.
There's Mulligan. Well, if it's removal, if it's Legion's End, that's actually quite good. That means we can deal with the first cascade that happens into Rhinos, because I don't think Marco's keeping in any of the counter magic.
Ooh, and a Charlotte's Agent here. It's exactly what Danielle does not want to see. So let's take a look here. Second card, getting that Crashing Footfalls really fast. And 2 Rhinos are entering the battlefield. We saw how that worked last game. Agatha Soul Cauldron there exiling the Crashing Footfalls. And it looks like the last card in hand was a Fatal Push, taking care of one of the Rhinos. But Danielle needs a good draw here. Let's see what it is.
We need a Yawgmoth. That's what we need. Yawgmoth. Grist wouldn't be too bad either.
Maybe a Shieldred. And just passing here, not playing anything. There's Buseju on a Marco Del Pivo's side. Land attacking there for 4 with the Rhino. And Danielle going down to 16 life.
I wonder if it's like a Quarter Cooling or Bowmaster. And that I feel like we would deploy pretty much anything else, even extra land here.
And I think there's a violent outburst in Marco's end, but also a Tishana's Tideminder.
Wait, what's it Quarter Cooling? Quarter Cooling, another land drop, so now we can call it for free. Which I think I'm doing. I think I'm firing it off. I get a 1-shot with Grist potentially. Just to get that Rhino off the battlefield. But then I lose my Grist. But Marco's kind of got a lot going on, as you say. Fire and Ice, Flame of Anor.
And that mulligan really cost Danielle some things here, because not having much and Marco just so close to getting that World Championship invite.
Yeah, it's not... it doesn't play into in Yawgmoth deck's favor mulliganing too much, because sometimes you just draw the wrong part of your deck, as we're seeing here. Kind of an awkward, clunky draw Not the one drops in the right order that we wanted them. Agri's Soul Cauldron not doing too much. No way to get extra cards in our graveyard. It is going to be more of a late game card in this matchup if we get to a late game. Marco obviously going to try and turn that Rhino sideways as many times as he possibly can until he either secures himself that world invite or unfortunately walks away without it.
And as we know that, endurance there. Just playing that endurance. We already know that our backup feature match, the Golgari Yawgmoth deck, won there. So if Marco does win this game, we'll have the same matchup for our finals.
And remember, Marco is going to be on the draw in every single game he plays if he does take this down.
Oh, that
the
is
top 8.
Court of Calling.
Only for 2, though.
What can we get there? Maybe Orcish Bowmaster, but...
I'm not huge on Orcish Bowmaster. Oh, it could be a Soul Jailer. Soul Jailer would stop any further cascades, making Rhinos happen, but...
But we know that there's a Busejo on the other side.
Oh, we know.
We know.
Daniel doesn't know.
That's true.
And Jailer is the pick here. Can you get that one up on the screen for people to see? It is a obscure one we don't see too often. But yeah, even Flame of Anor, as chat points out, can deal with it. So lots of ways to get around it. Marco chooses. But that's a show of strength. I'm going to play the Busejo as my land drop. I'm going to animate the Mutavault, make it a 2-2. More importantly, Wizard. And then turn everything sideways. No good blocks here for Daniel.
There's that 0-4 Soulless Jailer there. Jailer 2. Ooh, okay.
Oh, I went 4. I'm going to do 5 damage to the Jailer. Shatter the Soul Cauldron. I think that in itself is the tempo line that is going to secure Marco his second World Championships invite back to back. That is huge. This is such an uphill battle for Daniel with no cards in hand to get back in it. Life total dropping down at 5 life.
And let's see here, what is the top deck for Daniel? I'm not even sure what can it be to get him around down to 5 life, very low. And Marco does have that 4-4 trample, endurance, and the Charlotte's Agent. 2 mana. And it's another Agatha Soul Cauldron.
That's lethal, right?
That is just enough.
Block, 4. Yeah, this is just lethal with the Mutavault.
So let's take a look here as Marco will make the attack that will grant him that World Championship invite once again. Not the first time that Marco qualifies for this event.
I think he also has a Flame of Anor in hand. Just to really rub some salt on the wound.
Attack with everything and...
I think we're going to see a handshake. There it is.
Handshake!
Marco secures his second World Championship back-to-back. That is so huge, so deserved from one of Europe's best players with his Sogan Rhinos deck.
Whoa, what a game we saw there. And the first game, actually, Danielle won, and then Marco winning and winning again to make that World Championship qualification. But if I know Marco, he is a competitive player, and he will want not only that, but also these trophies here and to be the champion of the Regional Championship GHENT. I am sure that's one on his mind now. And tell me a bit about the matchup that we will see for the finals.
Well, exactly the same as what we just seen there. I do feel like Rhinos is favored. He stumbled the game 1 there, only having 2 land drops, and they were able to take advantage of it. If that happens again, Marco's going to be in for a tough time. He's also on the draw, but I think his deck lines up so well against these Yawgmoth decks that being on the draw is not going to hinder him as much as it normally would in any other matchup. So Marco's going to be really happy. He's probably beat it a bunch today. He's just beat it again. He has to do it one more time, and he'll be calling himself the European Regional Championship champion as he walks into the next Pro Tour and into World Championships.
And we are 1 match away to finish what has been an incredible weekend.
Huge weekend.
And to see finally culminate and who gets this invitation. I'm sure both of these players are already super happy making the World Championship qualification and now just looking for the trophy and money as well.
2 trophies, money, the bragging rights, and the biggest thing of it all, the players interview at the end of the tournament. That's what they really want now, right? That's what's on the line. But yeah, I think we need a little more. I need a little break. My voice needs a little bit more honey and lemon to kind of soothe it. I'm not joking, chat. I'm fighting my best for you all.
I took a
promise you.
picture of Will drinking his tea, and there has been MVP here trying to get their voice to hold on through the tournament. I'm Filipa, this is Will, and we will be back for the finals. Don't miss it. It's going to be very soon.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Regional Championships of Europe. We are at the finals. We started this weekend with 929 players, 15 rounds of action, plus a top 8. We've whittled it down to final 2 players. They have secured the world invites. They've got a big purse to go along with it, but what they are missing are these huge trophies in front of us that only can be won, just like Highlander. We're going to find out who it is. Philip, I'm excited. Who are we going to see and what decks they're playing?
Okay, so let's take a look here at our top bracket as we see this cool animation here brought by Foxhound, the producer for this event, been doing an amazing job. We see there Marco Del Pivo, Temo Rhinos versus Borja on Golgari Yagmod. Both fantastic players, both, as you said, battling out 900 players started, over 900, and these are the 2 left. They both already have the World Championship, but they are battling for these trophies, and let's see how the players get ready. One thing that you said before is that Marco, since he did start at 8 here in the top 8,
8th seed, yeah.
always on the draw.
It's an uphill battle from the start, but he's got here, and I think he's got himself a favourable matchup. So potentially only a couple of games away from being sat in one of these chairs having an interview. But let's get down to that game. Let's find out who is going to be our European champion.
And we saw Marco defeat Golgari Yagmod before. Can he do it again? Land pass.
He's got to be pretty happy that there's no 1-drop on the other side here. Now, do we have a powerful 2-drop? We're probably looking for something like a Wall of Roots. That'd be a good 2-drop to have. Big toughness, so it doesn't really die to too much. The full 4 copies in the list.
There's some options there. And I want to take a look at what Borja has in hand here.
I'm already a fan. Retro Shocks just been released. Managed to grab them, come to this tournament. Love to see it. I'm currently in the middle of getting my own retros. Having to upgrade all my shocks is interesting, should we say. Wizards know how to get the money out of me. Here's a retro fetch land.
And they are indeed beautiful. And here, Marco fetching into that Triumph. What 2-drops does Borja include in this Golgari deck? There's Blood Artist, Orcish Bowmasters, Wall of Roots.
Soul Cauldron. Said even the one of Stronger Geist used to be a 4 in these decks. We've kind of moved away from it a little bit. We're kind of keeping it more to the orientated to just young wolves. It's easier to chord for. It's easier to play in 1 mana. But Stronger Geist still really good as a 2/1 with haste, able to try and play on that beatdown element that we like to play. But I can smell a fire and ice here.
And you talked about that those retro lands, and for me, this is my favorite swamp.
Oh, okay. I think this is the Unstable.
Yeah. One of the unsets. And here we see the Orcish Bowmaster, but
It's just going to get waved at. Just waving our cards at each other these days now. But of course, it's the fire side of it. 1 damage to each creature.
and we see Grist here, the planeswalker of the moment, but getting subtlety, pitching that Lorian's reveal.
So we're deciding doing on this top or bottom. It's going to go top. If we can follow up now with a cascade into some rhinos,
Ooh, there's
this
a
is going to be
force there.
huge.
So fetching here first and already going for their Shardless Agent. So we already know what's going to happen. We do need to get a land for that fetch, and then we're going to cascade into 2 rhinos, and this is the perfect start here for Marco.
Yeah, this is exactly what they want. Okay, I'm able to, there's no 1-drop. The 2-drop I can deal with 1 card. The 3-drop I can deal with with certainty. I'm now adding 10 power to the battlefield. A Grist in the battlefield right now doesn't do too much. 1/1s don't line up well against 4/4 tramplers.
We know that Marco Del Pivo does have a force in hand, but that does not work with Grist.
Nope, as again, as we spoke about, really good interaction in R&D and how they built that card. It is a insect in all card zones, except for when it is in play. That's the only time you'll see it become a planeswalker. All the rest of it, it will be an insect. Here comes these 2 rhino tokens. I did tell Marco, I was like, hey, if, well, maybe we've added some cards to the hand. Oh, no, okay, it's just the shuffle aspect, sure. That's what it was. I said if he manages to win this, we will sign those tokens, and he can keep them.
And playing Greased back.
Yeah, there's definitely a more powerful free drop or free mana spell on one side of the battlefield, and it is in the hands of Marco. We're going to mill. We're going to hit that Dryad Arbor. That's going to bring along a 1/1 insect.
Land and pass there. But now Marco does have 2 Rhinos and 1 Shardless Agent. The Rhinos do have Trample. So it looks like 1 Rhino and 1 Shardless Agent going to Greased and 1 Rhino's going to Face. And
Yeah.
4 mana still available for Marco.
Doing that because obviously 2 creatures have to go grist because we can't just have 1 Rhino. Even though it has Trample, the 1/1, but only 3 damage we get across and grist would still live. It's a lot better going to the graveyard. We're controlling the battlefield. We've dropped the life total down. Mutable added to the board, plus 4 untapped mana. We've got so many options we can do end of turn here. Could be a really quick game 1 here to Marco. Let's see, just a few land and a Soul Cauldron, I think.
2 mana, Agatha's Soul Cauldron. We saw how good that card is, but getting the Force of Negation.
That is huge. Mainly because there's not too many targets for these Force of Negations. Marco having a target for it, being able to cast it on a key turn. Because remember, if that Soul Cauldron was able to exile the grist, that insect now becomes its own grist, making more insects, ticking up, potentially flooding the board.
And we are getting that multi-vault, and just Borja scoops it up, and Marco takes the win here on the draw with this Temur Rhinos deck. And that was such a game. We just saw a clean win here from Marco. Also, Borja did not have 1 drop or 2 drop, really.
Yeah.
So, not really a great start there. Let's see now post sideboard. Can we take a look at Marco Del Pivo deck list here? We already saw it before, but let's see it again. What do you think here sideboard going to happen?
I think more of what we saw in the semis. The Brotherhood's ends are going to come in. The Endurances are going to come in. And that extra Flame of a Gnaw. I think they're the cards I want to, are good in this matchup. Some sweepers, some graveyards kind of manipulation where we can get rid of even undying effects on the stack. Flame of a Gnaw, great removal spell, can double up as either a draw spell or a shatter effect. These Force of Negations, even though we saw it do some work there, don't like them, I'm taking them out. Don't like the Mystical Dispute either. And then I might trim on one other card, potentially Alloran's Revealed maybe, is what I would kind of trim on here. But in the hands of Marco as well, that's the other side of this. This deck is great. The plan is great, but it's also in the hands of a great player.
And let's take a look here at our Golgar Yawgmoth deck list. Borja playing here. Anything different than what we saw in the previous matchup, or sort of the same strategy as well?
No, there's a few, couple of differences here, but kind of the same. Just the removal spell package is mixed up. Chalices, they're coming in. This is the matchup for it. I don't mind a fail push coming in. That can deal with a Rhino token nice and easy for 1 mana. Same with Go for the Throat, but that's going to go to 2. Legion's End, Pulse, these are able to deal with all the Rhinos on the other side. I don't hate a Scavenger News. It's a way of gaining life plus getting one of our creatures larger than 5 toughness, so Flame of a Gnaw can't deal with it. Jailer's coming in. We know what that does and why it's been so good in this matchup. Don't really think this is a Rex Sage Endurance or Former Mage matchup. Don't really like Haywire Might. Don't like Force of Vigors. So yeah, I think that's what I'll be bringing in. Just trimming the fat a little bit. I don't want Strong Root Geist. This is not the matchup for it. That can go. On the play, I like all my one drops, all the mana dorks. I think I want to keep them in. What else don't I like it? This realistically not Agatha's Soul Cauldron's a real risky one. It's not great in this matchup, but when it's good, it's great. So being on the play, maybe I can keep that in, but I think I'll trim a couple copies of that. Definitely going to get rid of that. Also, Bowmaster's not the best matchup for it, but does make 2 creatures in 1, which is great for our game plan of Call to Callings and potentially getting a little bit of extra chip damage in there. So trim the fat on this, bring in some of the big haymakers. That's where I would go.
And let's take a look here. Our players getting ready to start this game too. And Borja again on the play. This time definitely will look more to get that one drop that is essential. We did saw how strong a Grease turn 2 can be if we do find the 1-mana Delighted Halfling.
Yeah, it's super key. If you can get a early free drop on the battlefield while your opponent's only got one land in play, it's huge. But we know about subtleties. We've seen how good they've been. And every time on camera, we've seen Marco have a grist cast against him. The first one has always managed to be subtlety back to the top of the deck. Marco does have, how many copies he's got? He's got 3 copies in the 75. Always managed to have them. He's going to want more of the same here. Because not only is it good against a grist, it's also good if the Yawgmoth is to come down.
And big shout out here for my co-caster, Will Hall, right now drinking some tea. Already ate a full bottle of honey since last night, and I'm not even joking.
No, I'm not.
Just to try to give it all and be able to be here casting this tournament.
350 grams of honey so far I've had today. I don't want hot drinks, honey, or lemon for the rest of my life after this weekend.
Winnie the Pooh would be jealous of you right now at this moment. And jokes aside, our players are here getting ready to start this game too.
It's going to be more of the same of game 1, right? It's going to be Marco on the draw again, which I think it doesn't really matter to him too much in this matchup if he can have some of the early interaction and follow up with Rhinos. It's really going to be on Golgari's side. We need to have that 1 drop. We need to have that 2 drop. We need to have that 3 drop. We need to curve off perfectly. And even sometimes then, that's not good enough. The Rhinos deck is just that powerful and that good against Golgari Yawgmoth.
And let's take a look here at our opening ends. I can see Bosejo, some lands on Marco the Pivo side.
Looks like Soul Cauldron did stay in, at least some numbers of it.
And 1 card goes to the bottom here on the Golgari Yawgmoth player side.
I think Marco's had a double Boseiju in hand, doesn't want that. But does have, I believe, 3 lands, a Flame of a Gnaw, and a One Outburst.
And there's a planned turn 1 there for Borja.
It's best of 3 chat. This is a best of 3 finals.
And if Marco wins this game, it also wins the Legacy European Championship Regionals here in Ghent.
Yeah, it's a huge accomplishment. Only a handful of players have managed to do that at this point. This is nice. This is what Yawgmoth wants to do. Wall of Roots into 1 drop, into Delight Halfling. We're now flooding the board. If we can follow this up with a Grist or a Yawgmoth on turn 3, it's going to be huge tempo swing. Can Marco respond here?
Getting rid of these Delighted Halfling with that gone.
That reduces the chances of a Yawgmoth who needs some sort of filter land. Chalice
Ooh,
for 0.
Chalice
Okay.
for 0. There's a way to deal with those Rhinos.
And deploying it on turn 2 or our turn 3, their turn 2. The turn before, potentially, Rhinos could end up coming down.
We do know there is a Boseiju in end, but that will delay Marco's plan. And if Borja starts getting those creatures in the battlefield and unlocking the Yawgmoth engine, then things can swiftly go on Borja's side.
So there's a really marginal play of line of play that happened here that some players wouldn't see or even wouldn't think about. And it's playing the Chalice the turn before Rhinos could come down. Because if I play it on turn 0 or my turn 1, the opponent now knows about it. They can now leave 2 mana up on turn 2 to Boseiju it, etc. Waiting to the last possible moment in a matchup where I probably would believe the counter magic has come out. Now Marco's got to take a turn off to deal with the Chalice if they even have a way to deal with Chalice. If they don't, it's going to be huge. If they do, it's 1 less turn of Rhinos coming down, 1 more turn of me being able to sort my board out. Here's an Eldritch Evolution.
Because that plan does have the ability from Delighted Halfling, from that Agatha Soul Cauldron Exile. Showing how powerful that card can also be working here, ramping Borja into being able to do multiple threats a turn.
Well, this is either going to be a Yawgmoth or it's going to be a Shield Dread. Or don't know what I'm talking about. It's going to be a grist. And I was going to say, if it was one of those two creatures, a Flame of Anor here would be a huge blowout. Going this way about it, not so much. But I guess we're valuing the grist tick up with the Soul Cauldron on the battlefield, and we're going to try and go for the longer game.
And we have the land there, the Triumph entering tapped. Draw here for Marco Del Pivo, land. Just taking a look at the grave as that Eldritch Evolution should be exiled.
Yep, does exile itself on resolution. Otherwise, you know, normally you wouldn't, it doesn't matter too much, but in this deck we do have endurances. We can end up shuffling our graveyard back into our deck. And Brotherhood's End, we're going to use that to deal with the Soul Cauldron using the other side of Brotherhood's End. It could obviously do 3 damage and deal with the creatures on the battlefield, but besides, Soul Cauldron is more important.
And those insect tokens are really looking really nice there. And here, Marco Del Pivo thinking what to do and just passing the turn.
He's got Flame of Anors in hand, Dismember, and a Crushing Fit. Oops, can't make out what the 4th card is.
And here, just drawing a card from the land there. And plussing Grist, putting 1 card on the graveyard. That's Wall of Roots, and making another insect. 3 insects, 1 plant. Violet Outburst is played here. And let's cascade.
Yep, it's only going to hit 1 thing, and unless we got a Call to Calling in hand, which I think would have been done by now already, we're not going to see a Jailer in the battlefield at instant speed. So I think we are just going to see 8 power of Trampling Rhinos.
And 2 rhinos right there, ready to attack that Grist.
And this is where it gets awkward, right? Like, we've got enough creatures to actually block and kill one of these rhinos. But if there's any removal on the other side, we get completely blown out. So blocking is just not good. Double rhino at Grist gets out the battlefield. We're going to start chipping away at these resources. We don't mind about this 4 power you have on the battlefield, especially while our life total is at 17.
And we are going to suspend these Crushing Footfalls here. Those will enter later on the game. In the meantime, Borgia really needs to find an answer for the 2 rhinos already in play.
I think he does. I think he's got the Legion's End in hand.
So Yarark here.
I think. I could be wrong. Could just be the foiling of this ignoble hierarch.
Attacking with the plant.
That's for 2 points of damage. 1 because of the counter on it, but the other one from Exalt.
And 1 card left in Borgia's End. Curious to see what card that might be.
Well, I'm kind of thinking my guess of Legion End was wrong, because I would probably fire it off here, but we've seen so much discipline, high-level play from all the players this weekend. It wouldn't be surprised that they're keeping it for potentially future Rhinos and trying to hit 4 Rhinos in a 1-0, or saving it till the last possible moment they could use it. One thing with Yargmoth, though, to use its combo, it does need a relatively high life total. The higher it is, the easier it is for them to combo. So every single life point we lose is 1 less card, 1 less look at finding that combo if we're able to get a Yargmoth on the battlefield.
And Borgia down to 9 life. I think I see... It might be Otawara or...
Yep, that's Otawara in hand.
Otawara. Oh, but there it is, the Legion's End. That is not only going to be able to exile those rhinos, but also take a look at Marco Del Pivo's hand.
Well, Marco can bounce the rhino back or kill the rhino that it's targeting. So then he keeps the other one around.
And looks like that's exactly what is done here with Flame of Anor.
Big brain play there for Marco, but I wouldn't expect anything less.
And a land is revealed there. Attacking with everything here, except the Yarok. And tapping only 2 counters left on that Crashing Footfall.
That's a Tidebender off the top. Well, we got ourselves a straight up race.
And go.
Both players attacking for 4 a turn.
Borja down to 5. Marco at 10 alive.
Now down to 4. That means one single hit from one of these rhinos is GG's, and we crown ourselves a European champion. Dry Dive is the find, adding another point of damage to the battlefield. What's a good draw here? Maybe a Shield Dread, maybe? Probably a good one.
And this is such an intense game here that we are witnessing, as these players are so close to the trophies that we have in front of us.
I'm so glad chat can't see me scooping honey into my mouth.
Here Marco considering what to do.
It's just an awkward situation. It's like every line is pretty bad for us here. You have to, we definitely can't race anymore because we did go and fetch up that Dry Dive, dropping our life title down to 4. We're just going to get in there for 4 points of damage, leave back the 1-2 and the 0-1. Trying to work out, so I hit you down to 6 this turn, you hit me back, I drop to 3. I swing back for another 5 points of damage. Still don't really win this race.
So it looks like we are just playing Tishana's Tidebinder.
Removal, if we got 2 removal spells, it's game over.
That is a 3-2.
Well, we got, there's a Dismember and Hand Remember. And Otawara. We can do it. That's it. That's game.
That's Fire and Ice, right?
Well, Fire and Ice. We can attack Fire and Ice to the face. We're going to win. We're going to be crowning ourselves a champion momentarily. Otawara bounces token.
Oh, this is the handshake, and Marco Del Pivo, winner here at the Regional Championship. GHENT, what a game, beating back-to-back Gokar Yagmor here into this championship.
I am so... It couldn't happen to a nicer player in Magic. He's such a nice guy. Pilots his deck so well, shows how you get to the point where you top 8 Pro Tours, and is now the European champion, walking in to the next Pro Tour, as well as the World Championships at the end of the year. Congratulations, Marco.
But do you know what biggest thing here about winning this match is?
No, tell me.
Being able to get an interview with you, Will Hall.
Let's go.
So I'm going to bring Marco here so you can interview him.
Okay, I'll deal with chat. I'll talk to you, chat, with my voice. I'm going to show you my tea that I'm drinking in between, trying to save my voice for literally this moment. Marco is a friend of mine. I met him at the Pro Tour. We hung out quite a lot. We spoke a lot. I interviewed him a lot. Now I get to interview him one more time and present these 2 trophies that you see in front of us. Been an absolutely crazy weekend. We did start with 929 players. We were only down to 22 to come back today. And now we have one. We have our champion. He's walking in the room. Come over, my friend. Come over. Sit down here. Put this headset on. Put this on. Talking to that mic. You can hear my voice now. And first off, congratulations, my friend. I'm so happy for you taking it down. You are the European Regional Champion. You are now the proud owner of this trophy.
Wow.
You're now the proud owner of this trophy. You are now the proud owner of the title and everything. You also get those 2 Rhinos tokens that we promised you to take home with you.
Thank you. I don't have any of that.
First off, I need to ask you, what does this mean to you? We know that you just had the World's Invitation. We know that you've just come off that. We know you had the Pro Tour top 8, but now you're back on the game.
Wow.
First one season, what does it mean to you?
It's mean so much. I came here honestly with one goal, that it was taking the shot for the world, and I was a little bit chill in the tournament because whatever, if I win or lose, I don't care. I just want to play my best of the game, and yeah, everybody see that. And
It worked out well, my
Yeah.
friend. It worked out well. Okay, Rhinos, we've seen you pilot at the Pro Tour at a high level, getting that top 8. You've now piloted it again to an incredible finish, being the regional champion. You get to walk into the next Pro Tour, calling yourself the regional champion of Europe. Like, would you change anything? Are we sticking with this deck for life? Are you upset that Fury got banned? Because clearly you don't need it.
No, I don't have any word because I take the same deck, just see the change. I'm not convinced at the beginning. Then I realized that it's a deck that can beat everyone or can just obviously lose against everyone because everybody is prepared to Rhinos. And I was, okay, let me try to configure how I want to try to build my deck about my play style. And yeah, I'm happy because it fit very well. Every choice that I do matter in the tournament, and now it's just amazing.
How do you feel about we now play Mutavolts for the Wizard, for Flame of the North? We saw you do a lot of work in your hands this weekend. That's like a new sort of change, a new spin that we've put in Rhinos, kind of using the Mutavolts to make a Wizard so we can double hat on it. How big has that been for this deck for you?
I think it's a nice improvement. At the beginning, I was not sure about the 2 Mutavault and 1 Gemstone Cavern because that is the main spot that I want to understand about this kind of uncolored mana. At the beginning, it was for 2 Gemstone. Then more I play, more I find that, okay, I just want one of that. I want to maximize my Flame of Honor. I want to have some chance with attacking with Mutavault as in the tournament. Yeah, as you can see. So I think that 2 damage and double spell from Flame of Honor means so much. And this is...
Okay, wait, I'm a Yawgmoth player. I don't want to ever sit across from a Rhinos player, especially if it's you. So when you sit down in that semi-finals, looking at a player on Yawgmoth, you know you're 8th seed. You're going to be on the draw every single game. And then you win that matchup. You've won. You secure yourself back to Worlds. That was your goal this weekend. One more goal, getting these trophies against the same matchup. On the draw again. What feelings are going through you at that point when you're like, geez, I've just done it? Because you have.
I think that I have an amazing run. Now I start continue this run. I testing so much, but I don't know. I think that I don't realize so easily how people think that I'm good because I still not.
No, you are good. It's not you. We don't think you clearly are good, my friend.
But yeah, I think it's an amazing feeling that I think that I can describe winning something like this, winning the regional top of the Pro Tour.
Yeah, I was there for both of them. I'm so happy to be there for him. You are one of the nicest people I've ever met, not just in Magic, in the world. This is your last chance. Shout out to the camera. Anybody you want to say thank you to, anybody you want to say hi to, shout out your socials. This is your chance. Who do you want to say thank you to?
Thank you to everyone. Thank you.
Just literally everybody. Cool. On that, my friend, one last handshake. You take these trophies with you. We'll get Philippa back in, and we're going to end the show. You can take the headset off, just whack it on the table there. Whoa, this weekend is taking a lot, my ladies and gentlemen. It's taken 928 players battled out, but only that one there could walk away with the trophies. It has taken my voice. It has taken all the sleep from Philippa. It's taken everything out, everybody we can deal with this tournament. But we need to say a few thank yous before we do go. So Philippa, who are the first people we're saying thank you to? Let's go to the sponsors. Let's shout out our sponsors.
So we would like to thank our sponsors, Wizards of the Coast, Ultimate Card, as well as MTG Melee. We would like to thank our technical team, Fox on Crew. They have been amazing in this event. To all the staff, to all our other casters, to you, Will Hall, and most importantly, to everyone watching, our players. It's been a long weekend. We have been here since Friday. We started with the last chance qualifier and then the regional championships. It's been such an amazing weekend. I hope you at home enjoyed and had a good time watching Modern all over these days. And we will be back for an event soon.
See you all soon. Bye. Awkward.